Very arrogant. Very arrogant. Amazing. Just a bunch of trash. Hong Tianjun was extremely arrogant, his gaze sweeping across everything. Not a single sound could be heard from the audience. Although a few War God Realm rankers had died in the battle between Clan Congress S and the Heaven Sect, it was still a pity. In front of Hong Tianjun. Long family, complete defeat. Hong Tianjuan's face turned cold, and said, "Who else wants to massacre my Heaven Sect? Who else dares to steal my woman?" Huh! His voice suddenly roared, causing Hong Tianjun to become extremely furious. Who else? His voice was deafening. It crushed everything in its path. No one dared to speak, not even to breathe. Hong Tianjun stared at Sichu Hao and laughed coldly. "Sichu Hao, do you dare?" Sichu Hao's face became extremely ugly. He sat on the chair and both his hands were tightly holding onto the chair, the force of the impact constantly nullifying the trembling of his body. However, he was still unable to endure it, and the entire chair began to tremble. Sichu Hao said with difficulty, "No, no, I don't dare." He didn't want to say. However, he had to say it. If he didn't, his mind would be crushed into pieces. When he said that, it meant that Nantian's sect had lost. Admit your status as the #1 sect of the Heaven Sect. Ha ha ha. Hong Tianjun laughed out loud, the demonic qi in his eyes became stronger and stronger. Who wants to go against the Chao Tian sect? Fight with me. Ha ha ha. In the entire South Horizon region, no one is qualified to fight against me, Hong Tianjun. I, Hong Tianjun, am the strongest person in the South Horizon region. At this moment, Jojo took a step forward. The leopard girl also walked out. It was also at this time. Rumble. Li Yuanbar woke up from his coma and rolled over. He stood up from the rubble, his entire body covered in blood. At this moment, Ahut got up from the ground. The sky spirit got up from the ground. Lin Yusheng got up. Long Sanfeng also crawled up. Almost at the same time, he said, "I dare." None of them died, they all stood up. Furthermore, imperceptibly, on their bodies, there was a strand of strange strength stripes linked to Jojo's body. It was extremely special. Hong Tianjuan's gaze darkened. The entire plaza was in an uproar once again. He's not dead yet. How are these people hurt? He's not dead yet. Are they still human? To think that he was still alive after receiving such a heavy blow from the power of the War King. They were all shocked. The people of Long family were too crazy, they were all lunatics. Hong Tianjun laughed coldly. "You're not dead yet, right? Looks like the people from the Long family are not afraid of death. Very good, let's see how long you can endure this." Jojo took a step forward, and a pure and holy lotus flower rose from beneath his feet. Strange power exploded from her. Jojo slightly said, "Big Sister Luo, she doesn't like you at all, she likes young Master Long Fei. Say, do you think that no one has the qualifications to fight with you? Young Master Long Fei is qualified. Who among you doesn't dare to fight with you? Young Master Long Fei dares." With every step Jojo took, a sacred flower rose up from beneath her feet. It was surrounded with halos of light, making her look like a fairy who had transcended from the mortal realm. At this time, the space around the leopard girl was filled with countless javelins. Li Yuanbar picked up the twin hammers on the ground and said arrogantly, "Hong Tianjun, you're too arrogant." Ahut said excitedly, "Boss strength is far stronger than yours, what can you do about it?" The heavenly spirit also followed, "You have even gone through hell and killed the king of hell. You don't have the qualifications to fight against me. You don't even have the qualifications to carry shoes with your boss." They walked up step by step. Not at all. Hong Tianjun was furious. He was truly infuriated. Even though he was blasted to such a state by Li Yuanbar, he did not become angry, but now that he was angry, he looked at the people from Long family like madmen. Each of them defended Long Fei. They all looked at him with disdain. He was furious. Boom. The power in his body exploded outwards as Hong Tianjun growled sinisterly, "If you want to die, then I'll send you to hell. All of you, wait patiently in the infernal realm. Long Fei, this trash will also be sent to hell to reunite with you." Ah! The might of the War King. The power of the first emperor. Boom. Bang. With a loud noise, the two forces rushed out at the same time. The ancient emperor's shadow appeared and the power of the war king surged out. He wanted to destroy all of the Long family's people. Jojo was still fearless. She also wouldn't allow anyone to humiliate young Master Long Fei. Although he could say it was fine with her, he definitely could not say young Master Long Fei. The others did the same. At this moment, the crowd was in an uproar. A woman wearing a phoenix crown and red clouds descended from the sky. Liu Luoshi. She stood in front of Jojo, looked at the furious Hong Tianjun, and said, "I forbid you from harming them." Xiao Tiantian and Yi Ziyan also ran over. Ruoshirei followed him. Yuan Ling, Niu Dahai also rushed out, and could not stand by Jojo's side. The disciples of Shenzhen's sect were in an uproar. Shenzhen's sect's sect master's face sank as he yelled in his heart, "It's over." Hong Tianjun looked at Liu Luoshi and laughed coldly, saying, "You're not allowing me to hurt you. Liu Luoshi, do you really think that you're easygoing? All right. You want me to let go of these trash? Kneel. Since you're already used to kneeling, then kneel down again. Last time I promised you that you would release that trash Long Fei, and today I will do the same." Ha ha ha. Jojo pulled Liu Luoshi back, and said, "Big sister Luoshi, don't kneel down to him. This kind of person isn't worth it for you to love." Xiao Tiantian also said angrily, "Hong Tianjun, do you still have any shame? Eldest senior sister, don't kneel down to him." Yi Ziyan also pulled Liu Luoshi. Liu Luoshi's expression was very calm, and he said, "All right, I'll kneel down for you." Finished. Liu Luoshi kneeled down heavily. This time, it was heavier than last time in Fire Glass City. She could not allow Long Fei's brothers and sisters to die here. Plop. The sound of kneeling was very heavy. Hong Tianjuan's eyes became sinister, and started to laugh maniacally with a sinister aura. Ha ha ha. Liu Luoshi, do you feel good kneeling? Ha ha ha. Don't worry, after today, no one will make you kneel again, because you will become my, Hong Tianjuan's, personal plaything, a tool specially used to vent your emotions. Ha ha ha. Hong Tianjun was extremely furious in his heart. When he kneeled before Fireglass City, he was extremely furious. Now, he was even more furious, and the devil intent in his mind grew even more frenzied. When his fiancée kneeled down for him, all he felt in his heart was rage. In the face of Hong Tianjuan's wild laughter, Liu Luoshi was extremely calm, and said, "Can you let them go now?" Hong Tianjun laughed sinisterly. "I promised to let them go, but I didn't promise to let them go. Today is our wedding day, it won't be so lively if we don't have them. Don't you think so? Pass down the order, the people of Long family are not allowed to go down the mountain." Hong Tianjun laughed, "After you participate in my wedding, see how I turn you into my tool to vent, let them admire you too, ha ha ha." Finished. Hong Tianjuan's figure moved, and disappeared from the spot. Liu Luoshi slowly stood up and turned around to look at Jojo. He looked at Long Sanfeng and the others, gave a shallow smile, and said, "Don't worry, I'm fine." At this moment, her heart felt like it was dying. Semi-floating life plus. In the evening, a dragon swooped down from the sky and landed at the gates of the Heaven Sect. He had finally arrived. "Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. 8_841923568550. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts." At this moment, a layer of a fist-sized bump appeared on his head, causing him to grimace in pain. "Pain? You still have the nerve to talk about pain? Who told you to fly in the wrong direction?" Long Fei shouted. Bing Hua said bitterly, "There is a distance of tens of millions of kilometers between Evil Sound Sect and here, and I have never been to the Heaven Sect before. How would I know the way? And, moreover, aren't you pointing in that direction all along the way? You still dare to retort? There aren't enough bags on your head, right?" Long Fei shouted. He muttered in his heart, "If I had known, I would have brought a navigator to this alternate world. How would I have found him from over 10 million miles away?" It was extremely bitter. He got lost halfway through the flight, and had no idea where he was going. The myriad realms was simply too vast. However, fortunately, we made it on the first day. Long Fei looked at the sky and muttered, "The wedding hasn't started yet, right? I wonder how Grandpa and the rest are doing." Finished. Long Fei stepped into the Heaven Sect. At this moment, 4 sect-guarding disciples blocked Long Fei and shouted, "Where did this brat come from? The Heaven Sect is not a place that a person like you can enter. Get lost. Scram far away, don't disturb my mood. Today is our young lord's wedding. It wasn't easy for us to get some wine. If we really enjoy ourselves, then you'd better scram on your own. Otherwise, don't blame me for making you lie on the ground and become a dead dog." Long Fei raised both his eyes slightly, his lips curled as he muttered, "Since you want to turn your sect upside down, then do it all the way." Zhong Xian sneered. His figure disappeared and reappeared in the next second. The heads of the 3 people flew into the air and blood splattered all over the ground. The other person froze on the spot, blood spraying onto his face. At this moment, his body couldn't move at all. He was so scared that he started to pee on his pants continuously. Long Fei walked to his side and said coldly, "Go and report to Hong Tianjun, tell him that Long Fei is here, and that the people from the Heaven Sect are here." That disciple did not dare to move, nor did he dare to even tremble. Long Fei's voice sunk as he shouted, "Go quickly." That disciple fell to the ground in fright, retreated a few steps, and then ran out like a madman, "Long Fei is here, Long Fei is here, Long Fei is here," shouting loudly along the way. It was as if they had seen a ghost. In another place, Jojo's body emitted a sacred and holy phoenix power, and a white phoenix shadow opened behind her back. The aura on her body also became incomparably holy. White energy wrapped around her as flowers bloomed beneath her feet. The power from her body was also being released. The blood hole on Long Sanfeng's body quickly recovered. The 3 bloody holes on Li Yuanbar's body quickly healed. The wounds of all the injured were rapidly healing. The leopard girl was dumbstruck. She was incomparably shocked. 3 minutes later, Jojo retracted his aura and his body sank. His face was pale white and his lips were as white as frost. He revealed a shallow smile. "All right, both of you are fine." The leopard girl immediately helped him up. Long Sanfeng also walked over. "Little girl, are you all right?" Li Yuanbar, Heavenly Spirit, Lin Yusheng and Ahut had all recovered and their powers were stronger than before. Jojo's power not only healed the mystical effects, it also helped them to raise their cultivation. To them, even the slightest bit of improvement was a huge improvement. The 4 King Kong gathered around as well, their hearts were filled with gratitude. Even the heartless sky spirit could not help but tear up at the sight of Jojo's pale and pained face. He was extremely touched. Jojo smiled faintly and said, "Grandpa Long, I'm fine. I just need to rest for a bit." As he spoke, Jojo's tears gushed out, and she said, "My strength can't kill people, and I can't help young Master Long Fei. Jojo have no use. Jojo can't share what you have done for young Master. Jojo has disappointed young Master's hope. Jojo has no use." Everyone's heart tightened. Seeing her like this, everyone felt a giant boulder pressing down on their hearts. Long Feng comforted her. "Who said you are useless? You've healed all our wounds, and no one can be more useful than you." Li Yuanbar said straightforwardly, "Sister Jojo, don't worry. Today, even if I have to risk my life, I will still snatch my sister-in-law away. I will at least trample Hong Tianjun to death. I'm risking my life." Ahut said heavily, "Me too. We must kill him." Lin Yusheng clenched his fists tightly and said, "Kill him." Anger was suppressed in everyone's heart. At this moment, Xiao Tiantian walked into the courtyard that was guarded strictly, his expression incomparably downcast. When he walked into the hall and saw that they had recovered, he was startled, but immediately became downcast again, and muttered, "It's time, they wanted you to go out and watch the wedding. Let's go." Li Yuanbar raised his raging thunder hammer and was about to charge out. Long Sanfeng said, "Don't be anxious, the wedding will only start after a while, we need to discuss it carefully." They had also experienced the power of the War King realm and knew that it was very strong. Invincible strong. Moreover, The feeling Hong Tianjun gave Long Sanfeng was not at all finished. He was also concealing his true strength. If he wanted to steal the marriage, he had to kill Hong Tianjun first, otherwise, it would not work. Xiao Tiantian slightly asked, "Grandpa Long, why hasn't Long Fei come yet?" She had always been fantasizing about Long Fei appearing. However, it was almost night but Long Fei still had not appeared, causing her to feel a little disappointed. Xiao Tiantian looked at them and said, "You guys don't know how bitter senior sister Luo she is feeling. She doesn't want to marry that demon Hong Tianjun at all." While they were talking, Xiao Tiantian collapsed and immediately began to wail. He knelt in front of Long Sanfeng and said, "Grandpa Long, I beg you, please save eldest senior sister. Tell Long Fei to come quickly. Eldest senior sister really can't take it anymore. Her heart is incomparably uncomfortable. I beg you, I'm going to kowtow to you." Xiao Tiantian had truly broken down. His father had ordered her not to get involved. The disciples of the sect scoffed at her. She didn't care about any of this. It was as if she saw the happiness in Liu Luosh's eyes. It was as if she saw Long Fei coming to save her. Long Fei still hasn't appeared, he shouldn't be coming. Her heart ached. Xiao Tiantian was about to kowtow down, but he was stopped by Long Sanfeng. Long Sanfeng's heart hurt. He held Xiao Tiantian up and said, "Girl, don't worry, Long Fei will definitely return. If this brat dares to not come, I, an old man, will never forgive him in my entire life. Boss will definitely come." Li Yuanba said heavily. Lin Yusheng also said, "He will definitely come, he definitely will." Jojo looked at Xiao Tiantian and said, "Big sister Tiantian, he will definitely do what young master says. He will definitely come, he will definitely come." They all firmly believed that Long Fei would come. However, when will he come? The wedding was about to begin. Chapter 18_841923568551. Junior Sister Apprentice Xiao, it's time. Junior Sister Apprentice Xiao, it's time. Don't blame me for not reminding you. It's best if you come out quickly, otherwise. At this moment, Li Yuanba took a step out of the hall, the furious lightning in his hands directly striking down, as he shouted, "What else do you want?" Bam! The disciple had reacted quickly enough, but he was still unable to dodge the attack. Half of his body was immediately smashed into the ground by Li Yuanba. Blood spurted out from the top of his head as he said in astonishment, your injuries. Long Sanfeng coldly said, "Kill." Bam! Li Yuanba smashed down with his hammer. Headshot, instant kill. Long Sanfeng slightly said, "We pretended to be injured and took them by surprise. Remember, you four must cooperate quickly. This time, we must definitely not let Hong Tianjun have another chance to retaliate. Do you understand?" The four nodded their heads heavily. After resting for a few minutes, all the people of Long family walked towards the wedding courtyard. The auspicious hour had arrived, and the wedding ceremony had begun. "Here's the groom," a husband called out, causing all the guests in the courtyard to stand up. No one had a smile on their face. Even Sichu Hao had to feign a brilliant smile. The Heaven sect was no longer something that Nantian's sect could go against. If he did not make a choice today, Nantian's sect would probably be annihilated tomorrow. The War King was too strong. The realm of the vein of ancient First Emperor's War King was even more powerful. His last bit of ambition had been shattered. At this moment, Hong Tianjun walked out from the side while wearing the groom's uniform. He did not have much expression on his face, but his eyes were filled with contempt, and the demonic aura in his eyes was even stronger. Compared to the morning, the devil in his heart became even stronger. Li Yuanba and the others forced him out. The groom is so handsome. Being able to marry the #1 genius of the South Horizon region is a blessing for the 8 generations of the Liu family to cultivate. I wish I had a daughter. Elder Liu might be the vice-sect leader of the Heaven sect in the future. So enviable. Envy and discussion sounded in the courtyard. However, Liu Ming's face showed a bitter smile. Ever since he was young, he had told his daughter that his future husband was Hong Tianjun, and it was as if they had always been married together. Yet today, he did not want his daughter to marry Hong Tianjun, because Hong Tianjun was no longer the Hong Tianjun of the past. However, it was not something he could stop now. Hong Wantu sat in the hall, his face flushed red, the smile on his face never disappearing, looking at the sect masters in the courtyard. He was extremely pleased in his heart. From today onwards, they are all my heaven sect's disciples, ha ha ha. At this moment, the wedding host howled again, invite the bride. As soon as his voice faded, on the other side, with the support of 2 maids, Liu Luoshi called out, dressed in red, and with a large hood on his head, he slowly walked towards the hall. Senior sister. Below the stage, Yi Ziyan shouted out. Before she could say anything else, she was pulled down by Elder Yi. He glared and said, do you want your father's life? Yi Ziyan clenched her teeth and began to cry bitterly. Under the hood, Liu Luoshi was also in tears. Eldest senior sister. Xiao Tiantian also shouted loudly, but was stopped by Elder Xiao, and he shouted, Liu Luoshi did not even resist himself, so what's the use of resisting? Behave yourself. Now that the situation had developed, it could no longer be changed. The Long family was so powerful and he could not change it, so what could they, mere little inner sect elders, change? Xiao Tiantian also cried. Liu Luoshi was brought to Hong Tianjuan's side. The maid placed Liu Luoshi's hand on Hong Tianjuan's hand and bowed slightly before retreating. Hong Tianjun drew closer, took in a deep breath, and said, it's so fragrant. Liu Luoshi's body trembled. Hong Tianjun went further and leaned next to Liu Luoshi's ear, and said coldly, Long Fei still hasn't appeared, this trash, won't appear. Just give up on that thought of yours. Ha ha ha. Hong Tianjun started to unrestrainedly sneer. Then, Hong Tianjun said again, don't worry, tonight I will definitely cherish you well. I will make you want to die, and from now on, you will also become my plaything. Ha ha ha. Liu Luoshi's body trembled even more violently. Tears ran down her chin. She had always been strong, always trying to calm herself down and not be afraid. Even the moment martial arts arena knelt down, she hoped that Long Fei would not appear again, but now her heart was breaking down and she was crying inside. Heartbreaking. She was like a little girl who had fallen into a dark abyss. She sat on the ground and cried out loud, Long Fei, come and save me, Long Fei, come and save me. I don't want to marry him. I don't want to. Tears welled up in his eyes. However, but she did not dare to say it out loud, because the lives of her father and the rest of the Long family were in Hong Tianjuan's hands. When Hong Tianjun saw Liu Luoshi, who was crying under the veil, he laughed even more joyously and said, this must feel really good, right? Ha ha ha. You'll feel even better in the future. At this moment, the elder spoke in a low voice, young master, it's about time. Hong Tianjun nodded, and said, I understand. And then, Hong Tianjun smiled sinisterly at Liu Luoshi, after paying your respects, you are my, Hong Tianjuan's, woman. The Long Fei you're waiting for won't come. I stepped on his guts in the fire glass city. That piece of trash doesn't dare to appear, ha ha ha. The elder cleared his throat. He said loudly, as usual, for the sake of more blessings, the wedding will start soon. I would like to ask, is there anyone who objects to this marriage? Ha ha ha. Elder Wang, are you joking? This is the greatest joyous occasion in our South Horizon region. Who would object? Exactly. What are you saying? Hurry up and pay respects, we're all drunk. All the sect heads in the yard said loudly. Objection. Whoever ate the bear-heart leopard had more or less guts, wasn't objecting courting death. Who would dare to challenge the heaven sect now? Nantian sect. It was not enough for Hong Tianjun. Yi Ziyan was firmly held down by her father. Xiao Tiantian was the same. Their mouths were covered. They wanted to stand up and object, but presided elders smiled faintly, and said, since no one objects. At this moment, Long Sanfeng's voice shook, and she said, I object. Li Yuanba walked over and said, me too, disagree. I object. I object. Everyone from the Long family stood up and said loudly. At this moment, Shenzhen sect's sect master could not control himself either. Elder Gentle Water stood up and said, I object. Yuan Ling stood up, I object. http://Nyo also stood up, and said, I object, you're so ugly and want to get married. Your father has never told you, look in the mirror and see how ugly he is. A disciple whose body was covered in blood ran in panic. It was also at this time. A loud voice came from the sky, I object. Chapter 28_841923568552. As soon as his voice fell, it exploded in the minds of everyone present. As soon as his voice fell, it exploded in the minds of everyone present. The entire courtyard suddenly quieted down. Xiao Tiantian thought, this voice was very familiar. Yi Xian was also thinking in her heart, where did she hear such a voice? Long Sanfeng's brows twitched. Li Yuanba grinned foolishly. Yuan Ling thought in his heart, is it him? Is it him? Jojo was overjoyed, she instantly recognized the voice. Liu Luosh's body trembled, he suddenly turned and looked at the courtyard, and could not help but say, Long Fei. It was also at this time. The entire audience was in an uproar as they looked at Shenzhen sect. Looking at the injured Long family, he mocked in his heart, these people are really reckless. He's simply courting death. Hong Tianjun spared their lives, but didn't cherish it much, and even came to throw away their lives. Today, I finally know what it means to be tired of living. At the same time, many people looked at that heaven sect disciple who was covered in blood. It was also at this time. A black shadow descended from the sky. Boom. He landed in the yard with a head in his hands. The great elder of the sky sect, Dongfang Hai. Long Fei threw it into the hall, coldly laughed, and said, I disagree. The host was rather frightened, but he still reacted naturally. On what grounds are you objecting? Long Fei did not say a word as he walked with large strides to the hall. Everyone looked at him, but no one responded. They all wanted to know what he was trying to do. Moreover, many people were puzzled, who was this person? Long Fei walked to the great hall, and did not even glance at Hong Tianjun. Instead, he walked to Liu Luosh's side and gently lifted the cover on Liu Luosh's head. Looking at her trembling eyes. At this moment, Long Fei hugged Liu Luosh's bite with one hand and fiercely kissed him. Her mouth instantly moved towards Liu Luosh's trembling lips and kissed them heavily. Liu Luosh's pupils enlarged. At the same time, naturally, she was also quarreling slightly, and her cheeks flushed red involuntarily. However, Liu Luoshi kept on leaning back as Long Fei kept on moving forward. No matter how Liu Luoshi struggled, he could not avoid Long Fei's mouth. A kiss. Domineering. He was arrogant and unbridled. All the people in the courtyard stood up with a swoosh. Everyone's gaze was frozen, and their brains had been short-circuited. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was going on? Even Hong Tianjun was stunned. Hong Wantu's gaze was the same. I can't do it anymore. My brain isn't strong enough, so I can't do it anymore. Too cool. He's too handsome. Xiao Tiantian's hands moved his cheeks, he was so excited that tears streamed down his cheeks. So handsome that it fell to the ground. Long Fei, you're too damn handsome. Yi Xian was also so excited that tears started to roll down her cheeks. Boss is mighty. Li Yuanba was extremely excited, the energy in his body was bursting forth, stronger than ever before. Boss is indeed domineering. Lin Yusheng could not help but say. Jojo giggled, young master is too handsome. The leopard girl also laughed slyly, big brother Long Fei is so sharp. Long Sanfeng was all smiles as he said, good boy. Everyone was excited. The moment Long Fei appeared, they all held their breaths. At the same time, they made up their minds, at the same time. It also caused the energy in their bodies to become incomparably strong. His battle lust reached its peak. Finally, someone reacted and shouted, who the fuck are you? Yeah, who is he? So arrogant. To dare to kiss Hong Tianjuan's fiancée in front of so many people, even if he had 10,000 lives, it wouldn't be enough. This was an extreme humiliation for any man. Hong Wantu's voice sank, and he bellowed, you dog, I think you're tired of living. Men, kill him. At this moment, Hong Tianjuan's gaze darkened as his anger grew. It swelled up in an incomparable fashion, and then instantly exploded as he shouted darkly, "Long Fei, you're finally here. Die!" Not waiting for him to finish. While kissing Liu Luoxi, Long Fei's right hand moved and pointed at Hong Tianjuan's nose with his index finger, as if to say, "Don't disturb this daddy's kiss." Liu Luoxi's body turned soft, and her breathing also became hurried. His throat was roaring, "Long Fei, there's still someone left, now is not the time, Long Fei." The color of her cheeks was so red that it could drip water. It was incomparably tempting. However, her words could not be said at all, because her tongue had already been bound by Long Fei. Hong Tianjun was incomparably furious. He knew that Liu Luoxi liked Long Fei, but he wanted to snatch it away. Even if he did not like Liu Luoxi, he wanted to snatch it away as well. The moment kneeled in front of Fire Glass City, he became extremely furious. The kneeling he did in the afternoon at the martial arts practice grounds caused his rage to skyrocket, even causing his inner demon to become several times stronger. Now, Long Fei forced a kiss on Liu Luoxi's face. One must know that Liu Luoxi was his fiancé. He was brought to the wedding with a green hat. This was not only an extraordinary humiliation, it was also a trampling on his dignity. The rage continued to grow. The disciples of the Heavens sect rushed into the courtyard like a tide. The sect heads in the courtyard were still dumbfounded. Hong Tianjun roared in fury once again as his palms moved, slashing towards Xiong Longfei. "Long Fei, be careful. Boss, be careful. Xiao Fei." Such a short distance, who in the War King could possibly block it? The distance was too short and the speed was too fast. It was something that could not be stopped. Hong Wantu grinned, "Prepare to die." Liu Luoxi watched as Hong Tianjuan's palm struck down. She was struggling frantically, staring at the back of Long Fei and moaning, "Long Fei, Long Fei, behind, behind." Hong Tianjun attacked Long Fei. But Long Fei was calm. Her eyes looked at Liu Luoxi, as if saying, "Don't worry." Just as Hong Tianjuan's palm descended, Long Fei opened his right hand, "Give me the blade." Shua. The dragon Salia fell into his hands. Gravity and flames billowed, and the blade aura seemed to be overturning the heavens. Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Gravity knife." Instantly, the saber fell down at a speed even faster than Hong Wanjue's. Rumble. Rumble. His voice shook the heavens, causing the entire Heavens sect to tremble. Countless tables and chairs in the main hall flew up into the air, and as though they had lost all gravity, the stones all flew up into the air. At this moment, floating life, table of contents, no windows. A deep pit appeared in the hall. Hong Tianjun lied inside the pit like a dead dog. His entire body was covered in blood and he stared at the sky with a sinister look. Long Fei didn't even look at Hong Tianjun. From the moment he appeared until now, he had never once appeared. Ignore. Chapter 38_841923568853. 1/1/ It looked very ordinary, but it was a slash that could shock the world and make the ghosts cry. The profoundness of this strike would probably only be felt by Hong Tianjun, who was in the deep pit. A blade fell. An uproar broke out. All the tables and chairs in the hall lost their gravity and were suspended in the air. Even Liu Luoxi was unable to control himself and was about to float. It made his scalp tingle. Hong Tianjun smashed the ground with his blade. What's going on? Who was this person? Just what kind of power did that blade have? Why didn't I feel anything? I can't take it anymore, my heart can't take it anymore. Too strong. Hong Tianjun was too powerful. In their eyes, he was invincible. The realm of War King was definitely an unrivaled existence in the southern domain, but to be smashed to the ground by a single slash from Long Fei, his brain immediately became twisted, unable to turn back. At the same time, Li Yuanba looked up at the sky and roared in rage, "That's great. Ha ha ha." The celestial spirit laughed maniacally. "So cool. I've never seen such a handsome person. How can he be this handsome? My liver hurts because of him." The four great King Kong roared like they were leaking water. They had suffered too much from being crushed by Hong Tianjun in the morning, and now that Long Fei had dropped to the ground with a single strike, this kind of strength made them incredibly excited. You, Hong Tianjun, are awesome. No matter how amazing he was, Xiao Tiantian was so excited that he started to cry. He cried until he burst into tears, and said continuously, too handsome, how can I be so handsome? However, this was only the beginning. Long Fei's lips loosened slightly. Looking at the blushing Liu Luoshi, she said gently, I'm here, no one will dare bully you again. Liu Luoshi was drunk. The instant she was kissed by Long Fei, her body slowly melted. Looking at Long Fei's overbearing and gentle eyes, her heart instantly melted. And then, Long Fei held Liu Luoshi's hand as they walked out, and said slightly, I have something I need to do now, so I'll kiss you here first, and leave it for tonight. Good girl. Liu Luoshi's face was so red that it reached his ears. He lowered his head and softly replied, Ian. He then obediently retreated to the side, just like a happy little girl. It was also at this time. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He turned and looked at Hong Wantu, who was in the great hall, his brows knitted, and the dragon Salia in his hand trembled. Rumble. A loud sound exploded in midair. And then, the hall collapsed with a loud bang. The tables and chairs that were suspended in the air also fell down, and the house was in ruins. This power. All the experts in the courtyard shivered. They all looked at Xiong Longfei. Long Fei smirked and said, My name is Long Fei. I have only one goal in coming to the Sky Sect, to K him up. I'll only say it once, get away from strangers. His voice was calm. However, it was full of arrogance. It was also at this time. Rumble. A huge sound came from within the ruins, and Hong Wantu's voice turned angry, Long Fei. Long Fei turned his gaze towards the ruins, laughed coldly, and said, Why are you calling your father? Ah! Hong Wantu was extremely furious. He bellowed, Kill them all, kill all these people from the Long family, none of them are allowed to leave. It was also at this time. Long Sanfeng shot a signal flare into the sky. Bam! At the foot of the mountain. Lonely Soul Wild Ghost saw the signal flare in the sky. Xie said, I'm here. The Grand Master is here. The time has come. Disciples of the Evil Sound Sect, listen up. Long Family Army Command. Attack the Heaven Sect. The disciples of the Heaven Sect also started to move, madly rushing into the surroundings of the courtyard. The sect heads in the yard did not move. No one left. Because, in their opinion, Long Fei could not jump up. At this moment. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. As the ruins slid down, Hong Tianjun slowly walked out of the deep pit. The devil intent in his eyes grew even stronger as he stared at the Long Fei in the courtyard, and he sneered sinisterly, I never thought that you would actually dare to come. That's better. I want all of your Long family's people to die in front of you. I want to ruthlessly ravage Liu Luoshi in front of you. Ha ha ha. The laughter faded. The aura of the War King on Hong Tianjuan's body exploded out, and immediately, the courtyard started to shake violently. Phut! Phut! Some disciples with low cultivations were crushed to the point that their minds were shattered. In the blink of an eye, Hong Tianjun frowned, the image of an emperor appearing on his body. The emperor blood vein. The simulacrum of the first emperor. Hong Tianjun laughed sinisterly, Long Fei, you are just like a dead dog in Fireglass City, living off a woman for a few more years, now. If you kneel down, I will let you live like a dog for a few more years. Boom. Boom. The sound was as if it exploded, and it continuously resounded in the air. Furthermore, Hong Tianjuan's body slowly flew up into the air. Li Yuanba reminded him, Boss, be careful. Long Fei slightly said, Yuan Ba, protect my grandfather and Jojo. Then, as soon as he finished, Long Fei moved, rushed, and shouted, You like to make people kneel, right? Today, I shall let you kneel to your heart's content. 4th level, Peerless, Buzz. With a move of his body's power, 16 times the elemental energy was released. With a heavy clench of his right hand, the black gravity knife energy on the dragon Salia began to churn. Shua. He charged straight at Hong Tianjun. Level 10, Gravity knife. Boom. The dragon Salya that was weighing 103,000 kilograms suddenly seemed to want to weigh millions of kilograms. As the blade smashed down, the shadow of the dark dragon god moved. He roared. Hong Tianjuan's eyes turned sinister. Power of celestial. 3 bodies. Explode. Swish, swish, swish. Hong Tianjun rushed out with all 3 bodies, and every single one of them were real fleshly bodies. The might of the War King. 3 layers. Crush. Hong Tianjun released the cultivation realm of War King, then fused it with the vein of ancient First Emperor in his body and unleashed 6 palms. Long Fei also slashed down. Roar. Gravity Dragon God Slash. Beneath the gravity knife, a blade of Hong Tianjuan's body was crushed to the point of spitting out fresh blood. Unable to resist any further, he kneeled down heavily on the ground, as fresh blood sprayed wildly from his mouth. However, Hong Tianjun was an expert of the War King. With one's physical body destroyed, he still had 2 more. Moreover, S/ could only kill 1 person and not 3 bodies at the same time. The instant he was about to kill, to the left and right of him, Hong Tianjuan's palms were pressed against his waist. Falling immortal palm, bam! Moving left and right at the same time, a beam of light burst out from the center of his palm. Long Fei was no longer in a hurry to dodge it. He did not have any defensive holy artifact around him. However, Long Fei had never even thought of defending, so the idea sank. Yama Minamaya. The dragon Salya withdrew. His right hand held onto Hong Tianjun, and then, his left fist violently swung out. Chapter 48_841923568554. You hit me. You hit me. I don't care, as long as you can't kill me, I will kill you. Hong Tianjuan's falling immortal palm attack power was extremely strong. When the 2 palms struck down, the 2 energies resonated within his body and rushed into his stomach. He rushed straight into his sea of consciousness. His entire body seemed about to split apart. It was extremely uncomfortable. However, Long Fei was now a level 3 sacred body, coupled with the fusion of the giant demon heart. His physical defense had reached War King. Not dead. Then he would have to kill Hong Tianjun. Clasping Hong Tianjuan's neck would result in a violent beating, a crazy beating. Yama Minamaya's 10,000 arts punch was like lightning as it bombarded forward. It was a deadly strike, hitting the ground with all his might. Arrogant. Arrogant. Overbearing. Your father is talking about 10,000 times more. Hong Tianjuan's head exploded from Long Fei's attack, and as he stepped on the blooded Hong Tianjun, he looked at Hong Tianjun who was at the other side and roared out in an incomparably tyrannical manner, "Arrogant your sister." His right foot shook. Boom. His body was stomped into the ground, causing it to cave in, while Long Fei took the opportunity to punch out. Hong Tianjuan's second body, dead. However, the system did not reply him. Obviously, this was still not his real body. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Long Fei was a madman. After the last of the 3 figures, Hong Tianjuan's gaze darkened as he let out a cold laugh and said, "Trash is trash, so what if you kill my 2 fake bodies?" Hong Tianjun frowned, a burst of power erupting from his body. Buzz. Buzz. The 2 bodies on the ground disappeared. Idiot. Hong Tianjun laughed in disdain. 2 heavy punches, one crushing the body, but, in the end, he did not even manage to injure a single hair on Hong Tianjuan's body. It was as if Long Fei had been played around with. Long Fei raised his eyes and laughed coldly. "You're an idiot, right?" Sure. His figure disappeared. Long Fei landed in front of Hong Tianjun and grabbed his throat with one hand. Too fast. Hong Tianjuan's face sank, and a cold smile still hung on his face as he said, "Long Fei, you think you've caught me? Power of celestial." Hong Tianjuan's forehead shook as he let out a furious roar. Just like the immortals in the movies, their bodies changed. His body once again materialized 2 other bodies. However, Long Fei's hands loosened, the dragon Salya was in his hands, and the god's devil blade was in his hands. Autumn water bit on his mouth and moved his body, 9 knives force. Hiss. The power in his body began to burn. At this moment, Long Fei's body became 3 heads and 6 arms, Ashura, gravity knife, boom. The 9 blades were as fast as lightning, not giving Hong Tianjun a chance to create any images as they heavily slashed down. Crack, crack, crack. The saber light flashed crazily like a shadow. Hong Tianjun's body kept on being suppressed back, unable to move at all. At this moment, Long Fei moved again. You want to compete with your father? Multiple shadows. Shua. 8 figures appeared and Long Fei stepped out, grabbing onto Hong Tianjun's throat again. He roared out, "Hanger, isn't that a clone? Aren't you arrogant? F***CKU, show some arrogance again." With a move of his right hand, he raised Hong Tianjun up into the air and smashed him down onto the ground. "Pa. Is it good?" And then, Long Fei then lifted Hong Tianjun up, and with a turn of his body, he landed behind, and kicked him behind his knees. "Kneel down." Hong Tianjun kneeled down heavily on the ground towards Liu Luoshi, the floor breaking into pieces. Long Fei slapped the back of his head and said, "Kowtow." Bam! Hong Tianjun struck the ground heavily, blood spurting out from his forehead and his body bounced up into the air. One is not enough. Bam! Long Fei once again struck down with his palm. Bam! Bam! After 3 kowtows, Hong Tianjun's forehead was broken, and his bun was scattered everywhere. His entire person was in an incomparably sorry state. However, Long Fei did not stop there. "Kowtow to my grandfather, admit your wrongs." A kick. Hong Tianjun turned his body, and heavily kowtowed to Long Sanfeng and the others. Bam! Bang! 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 9 kowtows. A deep crater formed on the ground and his entire face was covered in blood. For the last time, he did not bounce back and instead smiled sinisterly from within the crater. The people from the Heaven sect were dumbfounded. The sect leaders around were also getting scared. Hong Tianjun had been completely oppressed. He didn't even have the strength to resist. How strong was Long Fei? As their hearts began to turn cold, countless people felt regret. They should have left from the beginning, so why did they stay? Immediately, one of the sect masters said slightly, "Pavilion Master Hong, I still have matters to attend to. I will be leaving first. My wife has a child, so I have to hurry back. My 8-year-old mother has given birth as well. I want to go back as well. You know me. I've been suffering from severe liver pain recently. I can't drink. I'll be leaving first. Pavilion Master Hong will come again next time." All of them wanted to leave. Hong Tianjun, who was at the War King realm, was oppressed like a dog. If they stayed any longer, the Heaven sect would definitely die with them. Long Fei was a madman that could not be provoked. He's a madman. Thinking about how Long Fei had massacred the 7 great demon sects, they were extremely afraid and wished that they could climb out immediately. Long Fei said coldly, "Did I let you leave?" It was also at this time. An elder rushed in and said, "Sect leader, the Long family's army is coming." Hong Wantu's face darkened. The faces of those sect leaders who were about to leave suddenly changed. "Long Fei, we are just here to join the clan congress. It has nothing to do with the Heaven sect. Long Fei, there's a point to being arrogant. We don't want to be involved in the matters of your Long family and the Chao Tian sect." "Exactly, it's better if we leave." Long Fei's gaze swept across them, and laughed coldly. "I have never had such an arrogant attitude before. I told you guys just now, I gave you a chance, and no one left. Do you want to leave now?" Heh. These 2 words, "it's too late." He didn't know how to cherish the opportunity. Then don't blame Long Fei. Moreover, if Long Fei wanted to make the Long family the #1 clan in the entire South Horizon region, the sect masters of these sects must be eliminated. Long Fei was still a little short of leveling up his experience. These sect masters were all experienced. How could he let it go? One of the sect masters suddenly shouted, "Long Fei, don't be too presumptuous. Unless you want to go against all of our sects." Long Fei glared and roared, "I just like to be presumptuous. So what if I'm going against all of your sects? Come up and bite me," he roared arrogantly. It was also at this time. Woo ha ha ha. Hong Tianjun, who had been kneeling on the ground with his head buried in the deep pit, let out a burst of cold, wild laughter. Ha ha ha. At the same time he laughed. The flames on his body turned black. Strongest upgrade system. Hong Tianjun was bedevilish. The power of the demon heart explosion was completely different. In another place, Jiyu Wuji gave a cold laugh. Demon heart, his strength is finally about to break through. I really have to thank this kid for that, ha ha ha. The 5th chapter, thank you brothers for your usual monthly tickets. 8_841923568555. Hong Tianjun kept suppressing his strength. Hong Tianjun kept suppressing his strength. The previous breakthrough in the War King was actually very incomplete, he still lacked a little bit of strength. It was the power to stimulate the inner demons. In the martial arts practice square, he suppressed his emotions and did not attempt to break through. Now, when the power of the inner demon stimulation reached its limit, he would also truly obtain the power of all the cultivators of the War King realm and break through the shackles. On this point, he had to thank Long Fei. Jiyu Wuji laughed with satisfaction. Now, he can be considered to have truly started to learn. An elder next to him asked respectfully, "Teacher, will we destroy him like this?" Demon heart explosion. His power did indeed break through, but would he be controlled by demon heart? And if we can't control it, At this moment, Elder Tai stroked his goatee and said lightly, Supreme God said, regardless of whether he is a demon, human, or ghost, as long as he is a devil slayer, it doesn't matter. Ha ha ha. Elder Tai is right, as long as he is a demon slayer, as long as he falls into the devil Dao, or in the righteous way, it has nothing to do with us. Moreover, it is too easy to get rid of him. Jiyu Wuji smiled faintly. Tai Hong's appearance caused Jiyu Wuji to be overjoyed. Because, in the Tongtian Hall of Immortals, the two of them had the closest private relationship. The other elders did not know. Tai Hong would naturally help him with all of her strength. But the one who killed the giant demon was not him. What if the Supreme God knew that he was not a demon slayer? Tai Hong laughed coldly, and said, it doesn't matter if Hong Tianjun is a demon slayer or not, as long as I'm right, then it's settled. I said that he is a demon slayer, and he is a demon slayer. As for the Supreme God, he can only deduce the birth of the demon slayer, and not who the demon slayer is. As long as we can bring the first demon slayer back to the immortal domain, then we will definitely be rewarded. As for whether or not Hong Tianjun is a demon slayer, that is something that will happen dozens of years later, Tai Hong said with a face full of confidence. Jiyu Wuji also laughed complacently, and said, let's see him explode. However, Long family, this brat is not bad, just that. What a pity. Unfortunately, his surname is Long. While they were talking, Jiyu Wuji's eyes flashed with a cold light. It was extremely cold. Hong Tianjun lied on the ground and laughed wildly, the black flames on his body also growing crazily. The devil in his body exploded. Right now, he was completely unable to suppress this surge of power, and furthermore, he didn't try to suppress it, allowing it to grow crazily. Strength. Immense strength. Hong Tianjun began to tremble with excitement as he muttered, this is the true power of the War King realm, right? Woo ha ha ha. His laughter was like thunder as he slowly got up from the ground like a demon dweller. Boss, he's been possessed. This guy is bewitching too. That's not right. Jojo said, young master, he has been controlled by the inner demons, he probably has chi deviation. His strength is not as strong as before, you should be careful. What she saw was different from what most people saw. This was because the uniqueness of the phoenix blood vein. Long Fei also felt that Hong Tianjun's power was much more powerful than before, but since he was at the Heaven sect, he was prepared to face everything. The devilish flames on Hong Tianjun's body burned crazily. His eyes had already turned black as he stared at Long Fei. To be able to force me to this extent, you are definitely the first. However, you will also be the last one. As soon as he finished, Hong Tianjun's devil flames moved, the boundless killing intent seemed to crush the sky, and crazily pounced at Xiong Long Fei. In that instant, Hong Tianjun's body landed right in front of Long Fei, and sneered coldly, trash, die. Boom. A strong burst of power. The devil fire surrounding his body came crashing down like a mountain. Long Fei's body caved in as he flew out explosively, smashing the building on the other side of the courtyard into ruins. His strength had completely changed. The current Hong Tianjun had completely grasped the power of the War King's realm. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, are you feeling good? Hong Tianjun was incomparably sinister. Rumble. Long Fei rushed out from the rubble, enchanted. Shua. As his body crazily changed, his bun scattered, turning blood-red. The heavenly demon aura crazily burst out. Fighting against the devil is really strong, isn't it? Then I'll show you what a real demon is like. He took a step forward. Hong Tianjuan's eyes also became sinister. Without waiting for Long Fei to land, he transformed into a ray of light and flew into the air, shouting, "You dog, kneel down." Long Fei also cried out in fury, "Let's see who kneels now." Roar. Long Fei's eyes changed as his pupils became another color, devil snake demon eye. Boom. A stream of petrification power shot out. Hong Tianjuan's face darkened, his entire body was petrified and he had lost control of his body. It was as if the true qi, devilish energy and power inside his body were all being suppressed by the seal. Very short. The time was extremely short. As long as less than 10% of the time was spent, it was sufficient for Long Fei. God's bone taboo. The first level, open for me. Boom. The power of the God's bone taboo in Long Fei's body exploded. His body was going through a sudden change, and at the same time, his strength had undergone a tremendous change. The dragon Salya in his hand moved. Gravity flames shot up to the sky as Long Fei roared, "Dragon Saber Unity, kill." Roar. The illusory dark dragon god rushed out, transforming into a shocking amount of gravity knife chi and slashed at Hong Tianjuan's neck. Rumble. 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 As if his strength had exploded into the sky, he slashed Hong Tianjun, who was in mid-air, down. It was a pity. He did not die. The entire courtyard turned into a pile of ruins as Hong Tianjun kneeled in the deep pit in an incomparably sorry state. The corners of his mouth continuously spurted out black blood and the devilish flames on his body became even more frenzied. Ha ha ha. You want to kill me? Long Fei, you are not qualified. His strength was even stronger. Demon Heart had exploded even more thoroughly. Long Fei floated in midair and stared at the Hong Tianjun in the deep pit. Looking at the amount of blood on his head, the corner of his mouth curled up as he coldly laughed. "I can't kill you, right? Then you can see if I can kill you." As soon as his voice faded, Long Fei retracted his dragon Salya S, and a burst of energy appeared between his eyebrows. Yuan Ba. Li Yuanba took a step forward, removed the stone coffin from his back, and said, "Understood." The sarcophagus shook. Next, another sword flew out, and another one flew out, http:// whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk a total of 81 swords. Long Fei laughed coldly, "Let me see how many more you can block." Holy Sword 81 moves. Fall. Chapter 18_84 19235686. Holy Sword 81 moves. Holy Sword 81 moves. Sword intent after sword, none of them were the same. Moreover, a true chi with 10,000 points in one sword, 81 sword strikes, and 810,000 points in one sword strike. Long Fei had never used the 81 swords before. Now he had enough true chi. Moreover, when he cultivated the Holy Sword 81 moves to the Great Perfection stage, he would also be able to obtain a special pattern, the Sword Saint mode. Shocking sword spirit. Boom. Long Fei moved, and the first step of the gigantic sword fell like thunder, smashing Hong Tianjian's head down onto the ground. Second sword. Boom. It continued to rain down. The third and fourth strike struck down like crazy, and each and every one of the sword intent was like a force coming from beyond the heavens. The deep pit continued to expand, and Hong Tianjun, who was inside, wanted to stand up, but he kept slapping himself on the ground until he couldn't take it anymore. Ah! Ah! Hong Tianjun was roaring, roaring. The amount of HP left on his head also decreased rapidly. Shout. Keep shouting for lousy. Hong Tianjun, I said it before in the Fireglass City, if you don't kill me, your father will one day overturn your ancestors' graves. 3 years. I have accumulated 3 years of anger. King dare to act arrogant for lousy. The rage in Long Fei's heart was vented out crazily. For the past 3 years, he had worked hard with all his might for this goal. 3 years. Hong Tianjun was like a huge mountain crushing down on his mind and heart, causing him to feel extremely displeased. The explosive power of the devil in Hong Tianjun's heart exploded, and the rage that had been accumulating in his heart for 3 years became even more terrifying. The Holy Sword 81 moves continued to bombard her. Hong Tianjun was like a dead dog lying in the deep pit, struggling, but to no avail. Moreover, the devil flames on his body were completely extinguished by Long Fei's sword intent. Rumble. The 81st strike. Limitless sword intent, boom, shua. The sword struck out like an endless illusion. Hong Tianxiong's body caved in and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The entire deep pit was filled with blood. It was densely packed. Hong Tianjuan's face was pale, his eyes trembling. Long Fei heavily landed on the ground, landing at the edge of the pit, and asked coldly, "Give this father one more arrogant. The strongest person in the South Horizon region? The first person to step into the God Emperor Academy in 100 years? Vein of ancient first emperor?" At this moment, was completely trampled by Long Fei. Long Fei glared with his eyes, causing killing intent to fill the sky. He roared at Hong Tianjun, King dare to act arrogant for your father again. Huh! Come on. Long Fei was like a madman. The entire heaven sect was crushed by him. Hong Tianjuan's lips started to tremble, her eyes filled with fear. Since he was young, this was the first time he had ever known fear and terror. The qi released by Long Fei's body was too dense. Hong Tianjun pleaded, don't kill me, if you want Liu Luoshi, I'll give it to you, don't kill me, I don't want to die, I don't want to. He begged for mercy. At this moment, all the disciples of the heaven sect collapsed. Their spiritual support had collapsed. Long Fei looked at Liu Luoshi. Liu Luoshi looked at the kneeling Hong Tianjun, who was begging on the ground, and thought of the words Hong Tianjun had said. Her body couldn't help but tremble, and then, coldly said a single word, kill him. Hong Tianjun stared at him and bellowed, stupid asterisk, you. Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei moved his right fist and spirit demon power surged out. Wait. A voice sounded. It did not have the slightest of strength, but everyone present was shocked, including Long Fei. It was also at this time. Yang Huang ancestor said, immortal domain warrior. Long Fei's eyes became tight, and he angrily shouted, who the fuck cares, I want to kill. The punch landed. I told you to wait. Buzz. This time, the voice seemed to come from the sky and directly formed a binding force that firmly restricted Long Fei. Long Fei also could not move at all. I was at this time, too. Jiu Wuji, Tai Hong, and that God Emperor Academy elder, Yunxian. It was as if the three of them had walked out of thin air, and the auras they emitted were completely different. It was at this moment. Hong Tianjun laughed out wildly, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. My master is here, and Long Fei, the only trash who wants to kill me, is you? Are you worthy? Ha ha ha. He instantly became arrogant. It was also at this time. Hong Wantu also said loudly, Master, save Heaven's End. Immortal domain ranker, they are the experts of God Emperor Academy. The auras they give off are completely different from ours. It's so strong. Different. It was different from the others as the aura of a warrior on Long Fei and the others was completely different. Their auras completely crushed the martial artists of the South Horizon region. Moreover, their auras were also different. Their eyes were all filled with that kind of disdainful gaze, as if they were high up in the sky, as if they were gods and Long Fei and the rest were just commoners. Yunxian stared at Long Fei coldly, and said coldly, I told you to wait, did you not hear me? The moment he spoke, the restraining force of the cloud immortal loosened. Long Fei did not care and shouted, I heard of your 8 ancestors. He punched towards Hong Tianjun who was beside him. Hong Tianjuan's face sunk, he was immediately paralyzed from fright, and his crotch instantly became wet. He was scared to the point of peeing. "Master, save me." Hong Tianjun cried out in alarm. He did not expect that Long Fei would still attack again. Not even Immortal Sixcloud could have imagined this. Long Fei was completely crazy. "I will definitely kill you," Long Fei roared in his heart. The power on his fist did not weaken in the slightest, instead, it became even more ferocious. Hong Tianjun was so scared that his whole body was trembling. At this moment, Jiyu Wuji's eyes darkened, he snorted, "You're courting death." His figure disappeared. Then, bam! Long Fei was blasted away by an incomparably powerful force, causing cracks to appear all over his body, and this power wreaked havoc within his body. His physical body was unable to withstand it. His heart seemed to be on the verge of breaking. Rumble. Long Fei landed 1,000 meters away. "Boss! Young master!" Jojo, Li Yuanba, and the others crazily rushed at Xiong Longfei. At this moment, Hong Wantu's voice sank, and he roared, "Kill them all! Kill them all! Absolutely do not allow anyone from the Long family to leave here alive. The people from the Long family are truly too terrifying." Moreover, he definitely could not let anyone save Long Fei. Cracks burst out of Long Fei's body, and at the same time, his head, face, chest, and body began to crack. At the same time, his health point decreased rapidly. Power of regeneration. Open. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows. A ++ 1,000 health point recovered. Still not enough. Long Fei clenched his teeth and roared, "Yama, drink it." Chapter 28_841923568557. Jiyu Wuji's power of Celestial was just too strong. Jiyu Wuji's power of Celestial was just too strong. Moreover, his move just now was to kill Long Fei. Because he was furious. Furthermore, it was because Long Fei was surnamed Long. Furthermore, Hong Tianjun cannot die. Hong Tianjun was the trump card in his hand, the trump card that would allow him to ascend to the position of the supreme god. Jiyu Wuji glanced at Hong Tianjun, then looked at Long Fei in the distance and coldly said, "You overestimate yourself." The moment he spoke, Long Fei heavily slapped his right palm, and he stood up once again. Yama Luo's 10,000 arts was able to absorb the energy within everything to become his health point, and he could even absorb the energy within the stone. The entire audience was stunned. Even Jiyu Wuji's face changed, his eyes became gloomy. "He's not dead yet?" Long Fei was not afraid, and said, "If your entire family dies, your father will not die." Jiyu Wuji was enraged, and said coldly, "Let's see how many times you can endure it." F***CK. Long Fei burst out in vulgarities, and roared, "Come again if you dare." His mind stirred. An idea rushed into the broken 18th level of hell and said solemnly, "Gravity Troll. The 18th floor of the infernal realm. The first floor. The tongue-drawing hell." The Gravity Troll's eyes suddenly opened, and shouted loudly, "Master." His voice was filled with an incomparable amount of power. Long Fei's eyes revealed arrogance, a domineering look, and said to the disappearing Jiyu Wuji, "Today let's see who kills who." The rage raged. So what if he was a immortal domain ranker? Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he can forget about making Long Fei surrender. Jiyu Wuji uttered in the air, "You're being arrogant in front of me? Brat, you are already dead." A loud sound resounded in the sky. The sky above Long Fei cracked. A palm carrying an incredibly thick power of celestial smashed down. This palm would directly pierce through the entire Zenith province. It was too strong. The elders of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals how powerful were they? He was also a top-notch expert in the immortal domain. Not to mention, in the South Horizon region, who would be his match? There was no one here. Long Fei's body shook as he roared in his heart, "Gravity Troll." In the blink of an eye, before Long Fei could summon his Gravity Troll, a black shadow flashed and welcomed the sky with a palm. Rumble. 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 A ray of light shot out, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. The sky was also filled with the unceasing rumbling of thunder. Jiyu Wuji's face sank, and his figure landed, "Elder Yi." Yi Yi stood at Long Fei's side and said with a smile, Elder Gu, isn't it bad to use such a thick and profound power of celestial to deal with a junior from the South Horizon region? Tai Hong's expression slightly changed, shouted, and said, Yi Yi, why are you here? Supreme God didn't send you here, right? Yi Xiao said, Elder Tai, is the South Horizon region your home? If it's not your house, why can't I come? You, Tai Hong glared at him angrily. Jiu Wuji coldly snorted, and said, Elder Yi, you better get out of the way, or else don't blame me for being impolite. Long Fei must kill. Too arrogant. No one had ever dared to be so arrogant in front of him. Yi Dao said, Elder Jiu, you are also a fairy hall elder. If you go against a junior like this, you might lose your identity, right? Also, what if he's a demon slayer? Yun Xian immediately said, the demon slayer is him. He is the true demon slayer, the one with the vein of ancient first emperor. Yi looked at the miserable Hong Tianjun, then looked at Long Fei and said, if he is a demon slayer, then this little brother here is even more of a demon slayer. To be able to destroy a demon slayer, wasn't that the same as demon slayer? Yun Xian's face sank, and looked towards Jiu Wuji. Jiu Wuji coldly snorted, Yi Yi, Supreme God has orders first. Since Hong Tianjun possesses the vein of ancient first emperor, he is the first demon slayer. And Long family, this lame duck, actually wants to kill a demon slaughterer. He actually has a heavenly demon blood vein that can turn into a heavenly demon. He absolutely could not let Long Fei become a demon slayer. Once Long Fei became a demon slayer, things would not be easy. Tai Hong also followed, I have already personally verified the vein of ancient first emperor, and have seen what happened just now. The kid from Long family is unscrupulous, and his slaughter became berserk. This kind of little thief cannot be kept. Since you guys are talking about Supreme God, the Supreme God also said that everyone can become a demon slayer, be they demons or demons. Why is his heart so bad? Yi Yi also saw everything. Jiu Wuji stared at Yi Dao, if you want cultivation, Hong Tianjun is in War King, the #1 person in the entire South Horizon region. Talent, he is a vein of ancient first emperor, his talent is absolute. Elder Yi, how can he compare? As a disciple of the Long family, his dragon blood activation is actually 0. Right now, he is only at War God realm. Can he be compared with Hong Tianjun? He just practices a few evil techniques, if not how can he be a match for Hong Tianjun? Yi Yi fell silent. His dragon blood activation was a hard injury. As a disciple of the Long family, his dragon blood activation was actually 0. This was indeed unjustifiable. Just based on this point alone, he was weaker than Hong Tianjuan's vein of ancient first emperor. Also, even though there was only a difference of 1 realm between the realms of level 9 War God and War King, but the difference was like heaven and earth. To break through to War King was simply too difficult. Some people would never be able to cross over in their entire lives. If Long Fei did not have the blood vein inherent skill, it would be even more difficult to cross over. Seeing Yi Yi's sullen face, Jiu Wuji laughed even more complacently. Let's not talk about the blood vein's inherent skills, just the realm of War King is something that this lame duck cannot surpass. Can you break through the realm of War King? The realm of the War King is not something that just anyone can break through to. Tai Hong also laughed complacently. Elder Yi, the only demon slayer in the South Horizon region is the only one with the cultivation of a War King. The War King of the Southern Domain is the lowest level of existence in the Immortal Domain, but he doesn't even have the War King. How could he be a demon slayer? Yun Xian also chimed in, that's right. Just the cultivation of a War King was enough to crush Long Fei to the point that he could not move at all. As long as Long Fei was not a demon slayer, then Yi Yi wouldn't have any reason to protect him. Jiu Wuji could only kill Long Fei. Yi Yi frowned. Even if you are currently in the level 9 War God, even if you win against Hong Tianjun now, but if you want to step into Immortal Domain, then you don't have the qualifications to do so. Hong Tianjuan's Emperor's Lightning was heard very clearly, so the Supreme God recognized Hong Tianjun as the Devil Slayer. Thus, it was difficult even for Yi Yi to help Long Fei. http:// Seeing that Yi Yi did not say a word, Jiu Wuji's expression became even more pleased. He stared at Long Fei coldly and said, "Lame duck, just accept your fate. There are some things a mortal like you can't change." Ha ha ha. While he was laughing wildly, Long Fei took a look at the experience slot, and immediately curled the corner of his mouth, saying with disdain, "Is the War King realm that bad?" Chapter 38_841923568858. As soon as his voice faded, everyone looked at Long Fei. Poochie. Hong Tianjun laughed out loud first. Ha ha ha. Jiyu Wuji also laughed. Following that, Hong Wantu and the other sect masters all laughed. They were all ridiculing what Long Fei had just said. Is War King very strong? Fine, let me see if you can break through or not. With the protection of Jiyu Wuji and the others, he was no longer afraid of Long Fei. Everyone began to mock him. He really doesn't know his place. Who does he think he is? Even the ancestors of the Long family did not dare to be so arrogant. You really take yourself seriously, and still say that you are in the War King realm? You actually did break through one. He laughed loudly. Yi Yi frowned. Long Fei's words were indeed too arrogant. He was indeed the lowest level of existence in the War King realm because the cultivation method in the Immortal Domain and the South Horizon region were different and the density of the spirit energy in the world was also different. However, in the South Horizon region, the War King is a peak existence. To break through to War King was simply too difficult, and furthermore, breaking through the War King realm required a bit of luck. If not, he would not be able to break through even if he had comprehended it. Jiyu Wuji laughed coldly. It's not difficult, but you've already broken through one. If you can't break through, then don't be cocky here. Breaking through to War King is not something that can be done casually, and even more so not something that can be achieved just by a simple breakthrough. Long Fei looked at the people who had mocked him, and looked at the incomparably pleased Hong Tianjun, his mouth curling up as he said slightly, "What if I can break through within a minute?" As soon as he finished, the surrounding people burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Am I hearing things? Long
break
Fei
through
laughed.
War King
I'm
in a
not
minute.
done speaking.
Long
Other than
Fei,
slapping
aren't you being
I
too
still have his
arrogant?
life.
Long
Fei moved
is
his
something
finger
wrong with
and
your
pointed
brain?
at the extremely
I'm dying
proud
of
Hong
laughter.
Tianjun.
Do you think this
Hong
talent is
Tianjuan's
stronger
gaze
than the
tensed up
Heaven's End
and
young
laughed
noble?
coldly.
If
Yi
you can
Yi
break
also
through War
said
King
in a
in a
low
minute,
voice,
don't
"Little
even
guy,
mention my life.
don't talk
I
nonsense.
will give you the lives
Break
of all the
through
Heaven
War
Sect
King in a
disciples.
minute.
Break
How
through
is this
in a
possible?
minute.
Let alone
Compage.
Long Fei,
What
who
do you
didn't
think
have
you
any
are?
gifted vein.
Such a
Even
strong
Yi
being
Yi has never
Jiyu
appeared
Wuji,
in the South
this kind of
Horizon
immortal
region.
foundation elder
Even the
with absolute
ancestors
talent
of your Long
couldn't
family
break
wouldn't
through the
be
War
able to
King
do
realm
it.
in 1 minute.
Long Fei
It
did
was
not
even more
respond to
impossible
Hong
for Long
Tianjun,
Fei.
because
It was
Hong
completely
Tianjuan's
impossible.
life was not in his own
Jiyu
hands,
Wuji was
but in
naturally
Jiyu
clear
Wuji's,
and laughed complacently.
Jiyu Wuji said,
If you can break
"Sure,
through War
but
King
what
in a
if you did
minute,
not break
you can
through?"
do whatever you want.
Long Fei said.
Long
"I
Fei
will
said
die."
straightforwardly,
Jiyu Wuji's
I want to
gaze
give you a
darkened
slap in
and
the
he
face.
laughed coldly.
The
Is your
entire
death
audience
enough?
went silent.
I want your Long
Yin
family to
Xian
be
immediately
annihilated.
said angrily,
Yi
"Brat,
Yi's
you're
expression
courting
changed
death."
as he immediately
Jiyu
said,
Wuji's face
"Don't
also
agree to his
darkened,
request,"
and said coldly,
Jiyu Wuji
"But what if
stared
you
at
haven't
Long
made a
Fei with
breakthrough?"
his sinister eyes and said, "Lame duck, you don't dare? Are you scared?" Ha ha ha. At this moment, Long Sanfeng stood out and said, "Gamble." Li Yuanbar also followed, "Boss, bet with him. If you die, so be it." Everyone stood up and said, "Make a bet with him." At this moment, the Long family army had already arrived at the plaza, and they could hear Jiyu Wuji's voice. Long Zhanhai shouted loudly, "Xiao Fei, bet with him." The Long family army shouted in unison, "Young master, bet with him." The people of Long family were never afraid of death. Since Long Fei had said it, the entire Long family would fully support him. So what if he died? His voice was deafening. Jiyu Wuji's heart shook. At the same time, his killing intent grew even stronger. He coldly laughed. "I've always heard that the people from the Long family are not afraid of death. Today I want to see how unafraid they are. Long Fei, do you dare to bet?" Everyone's gaze fell on Long Fei. Break through War King in a minute. It was obviously impossible. Long Fei laughed arrogantly. "There is nothing in this world that I, Long Fei, do not dare to do." Jiyu Wuji laughed disdainfully, then said, "All right." Hong Tianjun was secretly happy. "Long Fei, you're dead this time." He had broken through the War King's realm before, so he knew how difficult it was. Long Fei had to die. Long family would also be exterminated. Hong Wantu also laughed excitedly. He didn't need to worry anymore. At this moment, Jiyu Wuji laughed coldly and said, "Begin." Yi Yi looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, you're still in a rush right now, I can guarantee your safety." Long Fei looked at Yi Yi and smiled faintly, "Many thanks. I can settle the matters regarding my Long family." Finished. Long Fei turned around and glanced at the sect masters who were ridiculing him with their faces, and saw that most of them were mocking him for overestimating his own abilities. At this moment, Jiyu Wuji laughed. 10 seconds have passed, you only have 50 seconds left. Enough. With an arrogant sound, Long Fei clenched his right hand, and the dragon Salya appeared in his hand. Shua. Long Fei's figure disappeared and landed in front of the sect masters. "You laugh at me? You all are qualified. Kill." A single slash had instantly killed a sovereign. The system sounded out. Without waiting for anyone to react, Long Fei struck out frantically, one blade at a time, like an executioner. The cultivation of the sect masters were merely war emperor. In front of him, they were nothing more than radishes, with no leeway to retaliate. "Smile. Keep laughing," Long Fei roared. Blood sprayed wildly from their mouths as they screamed miserably. Their faces were filled with fear. Jiyu Wuji did not stop him. He could not understand why Long Fei wanted to kill these ants. The system's notification rang out incessantly. His experience points was rising rapidly. At the last moment, Long Fei landed beside Hong Wantu and revealed a faint smile on the face of the Grim Reaper. Hong Wantu's body trembled, and he said, "Long Fei, what are you planning to do?" In that instant, Hong Wantu shouted at Jiyu Wuji, "Master, save me." Long Fei sneered, "I don't want to do anything, I just want to borrow your head for a bit. C plus Miauk plus Bic plus Pavilion C plus finished." Long Fei's body suddenly exploded with power. The three forces of darkness immediately moved, binding Hong Wantu, and with a wave of his right hand, the dragon Salya descended. The blade chopped down. Boom. Ding. Chapter 48_841923568559. One slash. One slash. The head fell. At the same time, the system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hong Wantu for obtaining 10 experience points, true chi point, and energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. Long Fei did not even take a single glance at the items that dropped. Long Fei closed his eyes and extended his hands out, quietly listening to the most wonderful sound in the world. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, War King. At the same time as the system beep's voice rang out. Rumble. A surge of power from Long Fei's body soared into the sky, and like a mark, it surged into the sky. The lightning of the Emperor. The sound of thunder rumbled through the skies for millions of kilometers. It exploded in the minds of everyone present. At the same time, Long Fei's body seemed to have gone through some sort of baptism, The aura of his power suddenly changed as the powerful energy of the War King poured into his body. He clenched his fists. Boom, boom. With two loud bangs, Long Fei's aura turned into the aura of a War King. Everyone who was still alive looked at Long Fei, dumbstruck. He had become an emperor. He had reached War King. Furthermore, not even a minute. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was he even human? Was this something a human could do? All of their expressions looked like they had seen a ghost as they looked at Long Fei. After a long time, Li Yuanba was extremely excited. The giant spirit god inside his body seemed to have awakened as it roared out, "Boss is mighty." Boom. Along with his voice, it broke the silence. Lin Yusheng, Sky Spirit, and Ahat were all extremely excited, as if their blood was on fire. Within a minute, they broke through War King. Too arrogant, too cool. Xiao Tiantian's tears gushed out. "Stupid hooligan, I'm about to be angered to the point of crying." Yi Zian also said, "He's really too handsome." Liu Luoshi, on the other hand, had a blissful look on his face. He couldn't help but be like an infatuated little girl, so handsome. Jojo and the leopard girl laughed like blossoming flowers. "Young master, you are the most handsome. Big brother Long Fei, you are so handsome that my heart can't take it." "What do you mean handsome? What do you mean crazy?" This was it. It was also at the same time that Long Fei took a step forward, landing in front of Jiyu Wuji, and said with a cold sneer, "You should fulfill your promise, right?" Jiyu Wuji's face darkened. He was still in the midst of the shock of Long Fei making a breakthrough. In his mind, he was still thinking about how Long Fei had broken through. Why did killing someone allow him to achieve a breakthrough? How did he do it? At this moment, giant demon arm, Long Fei roared in his heart. He raised his hand, and with a palm as fast as lightning, he slammed it down. The palm created flames in the air. However, what cultivation does Jiyu Wuji have? It was a realm that Long Fei couldn't even look up to now. In an instant, Jiyu Wuji then reacted. His eyes were filled with anger as he bellowed, "Scram!" A surge of power burst out from his body. Power of Celestial rushed towards Xiong Long Fei. Yi Yi reacted in the same way. He moved and landed beside Long Fei, his body also releasing a ray of power of Celestial that struck forward heavily. The two forces collided. Boom. The shock wave of Long Fei's power caused him to retreat continuously. The blood and qi beneath his chest was roiling, and his internal organs were overturning as well. If not for Yi Yi blocking, he would already be dead. Long Fei forcefully suppressed the blood pressure in his body, pointed at Jiyu Wuji's nose and cursed, "Old thing, can you give me some face? You won't admit your loss." Yi Yi recovered from the shock of Long Fei breaking through the War King, saying, "Elder Jiyu, you're too shameless to admit defeat after losing the bet, aren't you? What do you think will happen if this gets out?" Jiyu Wuji's face became incomparably ugly. He never thought that Long Fei would actually be able to break through the War King in a minute and lose the bet. He was extremely unhappy. Jiyu Wuji's eyes turned sinister, and from the corner of his eyes, he couldn't help but look at the nearby Tai Hong. He saw what Tai Hong wanted from his gaze, and laughed coldly. "Shameless? So what? Do you think this matter can be spread?" Yi Yi's gaze tensed up, and said, "Jiyu Wuji, what are you planning to do?" Jiyu Wuji sneered coldly, "Elder Yi, you still have a chance to choose right now, so don't blame me for not reminding you to give up your bright future for a trash with zero dragon blood activation. In the future, if you have my great elder position, then you will have your great elder position." His eyes were already filled with killing intent. Yi Yi naturally understood the meaning behind Jiyu Wuji's words. The power of Celestial in his body surged, and he carefully replied, "Jiyu Wuji, don't tell me you don't know about the Supreme God." Jiyu Wuji laughed and said, "Since everyone here has died, of course Supreme God would not know about it. If I can get more cultivation resources, and get my 8th immortal foundation, would Supreme God even count as anything?" "Elder Yi, listen to me, Ji Chang. You are a smart person, so you should know what to choose." The power of Celestial on his body frantically surged. The ground trembled. The air was trembling. The entire Jiaotian peak was trembling from the distance. Yi Yi's face sunk as he sent a sound transmission to Long Fei. Brat, I will hold them back. You must escape by yourself, you must do your best to escape. Not waiting for Yi Yi to finish. Long Fei did not escape. Instead, he took a step forward and coldly sneered, escape? I haven't slapped him, haven't killed Hong Tianjun yet, I won't leave, and even more so, won't escape. Having escaped once, Long Fei had to bear 3 years of crushing blows on him. All. Long Fei would not run away again. Moreover, he really didn't like Jiyu Wuji, truly, really. Long Fei felt disdain from the bottom of his heart for those who did not abide by the rules of the bet. Jiyu Wuji laughed sinisterly, there really is someone who isn't afraid of death, ha ha ha. Alright, so I won't have to go chase them. Yi Yi's face darkened. He reproached in a low voice, Brat, this is not a place for you to show off. Your road is still very long. You absolutely cannot stop here. At this moment, Yi Yi firmly believed that Long Fei was a demon slayer. He had to protect Long Fei. Even if it meant death, he would not hesitate, because Long Fei was Sky Marshal Continent's hope. In the Sky Marshal Continent, for the giant demon owl to rise quickly, there must be a demon slayer. Long Fei cannot die. Long Fei grinned and laughed, I have a long way to go, and I won't stop here either. If I don't slap this old fellow today, I won't rest in peace even if I die. Long Sanfeng's voice sank, and he roared, where are the Long family army? Here. The Long family's army on the plaza roared in unison. Long Sanfeng laughed excitedly, and said, prepare for battle. Chapter 5, 8_841923568660. Ah, ha, ha, ah, ha, ha, ha ha ha. Jiyu Wuji started laughing maniacally, staring at Long Sanfeng, looking at Li Yuanba and the rest, coldly laughing. Even trash among trash wants to overturn the heavens in front of us? How laughable. How laughable. At the same time, Hong Tianjun shouted, where are the disciples of the heaven sect? Here. All of the disciples and elders were startled. Hong Tianjun said, kill all the trash, Long family. Kill. 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 For a moment, the sound of fighting shook the sky as Long Zhanhai led the Long family army and crazily rushed into the courtyard. The disciples of the Sky sect threw themselves into the fray. A few sect disciples who were still alive stood on the spot, watching the Grand Master without knowing what to do. Suddenly, Soft Water of Shenzhen sect, kill, the 3 senior fellow apprentices behind her also rushed out. Niu Dahai also rushed out. The disciples of the Shenzhen sect looked at them, and then looked at the Shenzhen sect lord. I'm going all out. The Shenzhen sect lord bellowed, all disciples listen up, kill everyone in heaven sec. Kill. The choice Shenzhen sect made was not because of Elder Ru Shui and Niu Dahai, it was because Long Fei had comprehended the Sword Saint's sword intent in the Sword Saint tomb. A total of 81 sword intents. This allowed Shenzhen sect to make a choice. At the same time, Sichu Hao's gaze tensed up as he frantically calculated in his mind, God Emperor Academy, Heavenly Hall of Immortals. He clenched his teeth. Sichu Hao looked at Long Sanfeng and said, your grandson killed my son, this matter is absolutely irreconcilable. For the South Horizon region, for our dignity, kill, Sichu Hao roared, disciple Nantian sect, listen up. Wipe out the entire heaven sec. He had made his choice. He had always wanted to dominate the South Horizon region, but Hong Tianjuan's emperor made him completely give up. He knew that this world was one that focused on power. Without absolute strength, it was impossible to dominate. However, Long Fei's feudal emperor caused him to be even more shocked. The ambition in his heart vanished. The reason he stood on Long Fei's side was because of what Jiyu Wuji had said. He would never let anyone leave the heaven sect alive, and also, more importantly, in Jiyu Wuji's eyes, the warriors of the southern domain were trash amongst trash. These words made him extremely unhappy, as if he was being trampled on. Thus, Sichu Hao made his own choice. At the same time, the other sects had also made their decisions, standing together with Long family and attacking the disciples of the heaven sect in a frenzy. On the other side, Jiyu Wuji was not worried because of the sect master's decision, because in his eyes, these people were nothing more than trash within trash, inferior to even ants. Heh heh. Tai Hong took a step forward and sneered sinisterly. He stared at Yi Yi and said, I have always wanted to experience your heaven's secret sword art. I finally have a chance today. In that instant, Tai Hong moved, his figure disappearing. Yi Yi also moved, disappearing at the same time. In the sky. Wang. Wang. The two streams of light clashed unceasingly, and separated continuously. Under the flowing light, the endless sword intent started to wreak havoc crazily as the power of Celestial surged with incomparable power. In the blink of an eye, over 100 moves had been exchanged. It was also at this time. Yunxian, protect Hong Tianjun well. He can't die right now. Jiyu Wuji said. Yunxian said, disciple obeys. Jiyu Wuji looked at Xiong Longfei, and said with contempt, lame duck, it's your turn. Longfei's heart sank. His heart was abnormally calm. He had never been so calm before. Right now, what he had to face was not just the immortal domain experts, but the top rankers of the immortal domain, the elders of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Yang Huang ancestor released the entire power of Emperor Yang Huang. He couldn't let Long Fei die. Xiao Bai could not control himself and rushed out with a roar. Ice and fire also followed closely behind. Long Fei moved and said, the two of you protect grandfather and Jojo, you don't need to care about things here. Xiao Bai said heavily, Master, you must be careful. With that, he rushed into the fists of the chaotic heavenly sect disciples and started to madly kill them. Long Fei laughed coldly, and said, you don't need that jade-faced old thing, come, die. Jiyu Wuji spat out a single word coldly, and shouted, let's see who can protect you now. 4th level, peerless. Boom. After exploding out with 16 times the strength of his attribute, Long Fei roared in his heart, God's bone taboo. Ah! Open the second layer. Crack. Long Fei's sky demon body's bones were frantically exploding, 30-odd strange bones growing out from his body, all of them about to break out from his body. It was very painful. However, at this moment, his strength was also frantically multiplying and rolling away. Pain and excitement. Not enough, not enough. The 3rd level. Open. Phut. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. His sky demon's body could barely withstand the power of the god's bone taboo, so the bones immediately broke out from his body and covered his entire body. Not enough. 4th level. Open. Boom. Long Fei was completely like a madman. The bones that grew out turned black, and his power also changed in an instant. Power of taboos. Jiyu Wuji's brows twitched. I never thought that you would still have the spirit demon clan's power of taboos, but this kind of power is far from enough. As soon as his voice faded, Jiyu Wuji disappeared and instantly landed in front of Long Fei. He said with a cold smile, no matter how much power you have, you are still just trash of the southern domain. Even if you are the War King's peak realm, you are still a piece of trash. Among the immortal domain S, the realm of the War King S is the weakest, and he is the with the highest cultivation in the immortal domain. How are you going to fight against me? Arrogant. You think you're worthy? Jiyu Wuji suddenly released his power, and the powerful power of Celestial surged out, crushing Xiong Longfei heavily. Yi Yi shouted, bastard, be careful. Young master. Jojo's face was aghast as a halo of light shot up to the sky from his body. At this moment, the other plane suddenly began to tremble. Let's not talk about the future for now. The light halos shot into the sky and sprinkled onto Long Fei's body. However, far from it. Rumble. All of the black bones on Long Fei's body shattered, and a deep crater that was 100 meters in size was formed from beneath his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood, feeling incomparable discomfort. Just now, all of his strength had been used on his defense. Even with Jojo's defensive power, it was still not enough to defend against it. Jiyu Wuji's power was just too strong. Jiyu Wuji's gaze was filled with contempt, and he coldly sneered, lame duck, are you still so arrogant? Long Fei slowly crawled up from the ground and wiped the blood off his mouth. He grinned and laughed, Old fellow, look at what is behind you. An incomparably large giant demon stood behind Jiyu Wuji. Chapter 6, add a chapter, thank you for your support, thank you. 8_84 1923568861. The Giant Demon from 3 million years ago. The Giant Demon from 3 million years ago. The 1008 gigantic chains on him emitted the power of seal runes from the chains. On him, the thick demonic flames were like a burning flame. Powerful, extremely powerful. Long Fei used all of his strength to defend, blocking the attack. He was not instantly killed by Jiyu Wuji. When Jiyu Wuji made his move, his mind moved and he entered the broken first level of the 18 layers of hell. Giant Demon, it's your turn to go up on stage. And then, Jiyu Wuji's body faintly trembled, his eyes slightly tilted backwards, his body slightly turned, his eyes looking upwards, his mind trembling. Seal Giant Demon. He's not dead. It was also at this moment. Long Fei roared, Giant Demon, kill him. Rumble. The Giant Demon's 2 giant eyes widened, and the light from his eyes suppressed down. Then, the massive gravity from his body began to crush down like 100,000 mountains. It poured down onto the top of Jiyu Wuji's head. Rumble. Rumble. The heaven and earth shook. Everything on the ground lost gravity and rose up into the sky. The gravity flame that the giant demon had exploded was too violent. Jiyu Wuji laid within the deep pit, his bun scattered all over and blood hanging from the corner of his mouth. He was in an extremely sorry state. TL ha ha ha. Arrogant. An elder of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals can be arrogant. Long Fei took a step forward and laughed wildly. Looking at the extremely miserable Jiyu Wuji in the deep pit, Long Fei roared out, Jiyu Wuji, is it good? Jiyu Wuji's eyes were gloomy, the killing intent in his eyes had never been so dense. However, not waiting for him to fly out from the deep pit, Long Fei roared out again, Giant Demon, boom, boom. The giant demon gripped his fists together and a muffled sound echoed in the air. It was like a battle axe had been struck deep into the ground. The power of gravity, crack. The giant demon let out a deep roar. The gravitational aura around his body became even fiercer as it fused with his fists and smashed down at the deep pit. Rumble. Once again, he punched Jiyu Wuji who had just stood up from the ground. Phut. Jiyu Wuji sprayed out a mouthful of fresh blood, his entire body felt like it was about to be torn apart. Again, Long Fei had to speed up. There was a time limit for the giant demons to appear, so Long Fei would do his best to make him attack crazily during this period. At this moment, the anger in Long Fei's heart did not decrease by even a little. Is Heavenly Hall of Immortals impressive? So what if he's a immortal domain ranker? Damn it, I'll tell you. This is the South Horizon region. It is the origin of our long family. Arrogant. I'll kill you. As the giant demon smashed down crazily, Jiyu Wuji didn't have any chance to retaliate. He was tightly pressed down by the gravitational air, and seeing the blood above his head continue to decrease, Long Fei's heart started to boil. What level is this Heavenly Hall of Immortals boss at? What could he have dropped if it had exploded? Wow. He should be able to level up several levels in a row, right? Ha ha ha. Long Fei was excited. He had not entered the immortal domain yet. If he could kill the immortal domain's rankers, then the experience he would gain. What dropped? The scene was so beautiful that Long Fei didn't even dare to think any further. However, Long Fei did not dare to let his guard down. Giant demons were indeed the giant demons of the seal at the bottom of the evil sound sect, but his strength was not fully unleashed. The seal chains on his body were still there and Long Fei was still unable to break these chains. If he could break these seal chains, then that would truly be the realm where the Great Owl Demon King was unstoppable 3,800,000 years ago. Could he kill Jiyu Wuji within 1 minute? Long Fei wasn't confident either. However, to be able to crush the high and mighty Tong Tien Fairy Hall Elder to such a state, it was already a great pleasure. 50 seconds. The trolls dealt 50 critical hits. Jiu Wuji was smashed like a dead dog, but he wasn't dead yet, and his health was still very high. Long Fei couldn't care less. The giant demon felt great. Now it was his turn to feel good. He directly rushed into the deep pit, and the giant demon also jumped down, standing behind Long Fei. Long Fei stepped on Jiu Wuji's head and said arrogantly, "Are you looking down on my people from the South Horizon region? Is it good now?" According to the bet. Long Fei raised his right hand, bent down, and released the power of the giant demon arm in his right hand, throwing a heavy slap on Jiu Wuji's face. Pa. At this moment, many people looked at Long Fei. Tai Hong raged to the skies, and said, "That's too presumptuous." Yi Yi was incomparably excited. "Ha ha ha. Good boy. Too cool. Who dares to attack the clan elder of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals? Who would dare? Only our young lord. Awesome. Awesome." The crowd was in an uproar, their fighting spirit even more frenzied. Shenzhen's sect lord's blood was burning. This is too overbearing. Even though Sichu Hao hated Long Fei, but now, he couldn't wait for more. He even couldn't help but admire Long Fei. "You're too arrogant, and you dare to show the domineering aura of us South Horizon region's people." This slap felt too good. Jiu Wuji's eyes were blazing with fire, but he could not move, because his body was completely crushed by the gravitational force. This was no ordinary gravitational force, but a gravitational force that was dozens of times stronger. What was even more crucial was that he was stunned by the giant demon and didn't know how to counterattack. A million-year-old giant demon. Just this point was enough to make him feel uncomfortable. Before the fight had even begun, he had already lost. If he had resisted from the beginning, he wouldn't have done this. He was scared. Jiu Wuji said sinisterly, "Long Fei, I will kill you. I will definitely kill you. You're still arrogant, right? Pa." Long Fei slapped him again. "I don't care who you are or what you're doing here, but since you want to bully my Long family and look down on my South Horizon region, I won't be happy." Saying this, all of the warriors on the peak were startled, their blood boiling. Once upon a time, the South Horizon region was the gathering point for trash in the Tianwu continent. The people from the other 4 great regions simply looked down on the people from the South Horizon region. That would cause everyone in the South Horizon region to be treated like trash. Being treated like trash in front of a trash, no one was happy, but they were powerless to retaliate. Even with the efforts of countless geniuses over the past 100 years, not a single one of them managed to pass the God Emperor Academy test. Now, Long Fei stepped the clan elder of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals, and when they said these words, their hearts immediately released their anger. Who would dare a person from the South Horizon region to be trash? At this moment, Long Fei became their idol. Too handsome. However, table of contents, the giant demon's time was almost up. It was also at this moment. Tai Hong pushed Yi back with a single sword strike and a streak of light rushed towards the deep pit where Jiu Wuji was. Yi Yi shouted loudly, "Long Fei, careful." Chapter 18_841923568862. Another elder landed. Another elder landed. He was also an elder-level ranker of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. The strongest warrior in the immortal domain. Tai Hong's sword shot down like a rainbow. The sword cheese bombarded down like bombs. Yi Shen rose to his limit and shouted, "Tai Hong, keep him under your sword." Tai Hong's sword did not stop at all, and after releasing his power to the extreme, the powerful power of Celestial did not have any intentions of stopping. He wanted to kill Long Fei in front of the immortal domain's expert levels opponent, and also wanted to kill Long Fei with this strike. At this crucial moment, Buzz, the troll rushed forward. However, his body had already started to slowly turn into a mirage. Before he rushed towards Tai Hong, his body had already disappeared into thin air. "It's over, boss. Young master, young lord." Everyone from Long family rushed over frantically, but their speed was as slow as an ant, unable to keep up at all. The giant demon disappeared. Long Fei's strongest reliance was gone. Long Fei watched as Tai Hong came crashing down from the sky, his eyes turned sinister as he held onto the dragon Salia tightly. The dragon Salia was also trembling. He did not know if it was because he was afraid or because he was excited. Jiyu Wuji laughed crazily. Without the giant demons, you little bastard, you are still arrogant. Ha ha ha. Brother Tai, kill him. Kill him, ha ha ha. As the giant demon disappeared from Jiyu Wuji's heart, he became frantic and recovered his powerful strength like a flash of lightning. Looking at Long Fei at the side, Jiyu Wuji couldn't hold back his excitement. Tremble, lame duck, you're about to die, ha ha ha. Indeed. Long Fei's heart trembled. He was unable to deal with the power of the Fairy Hall Elder. The power of that realm was beyond his reach. Too strong. However, in this life, if you are unhappy, then do it. Afraid, you lose your life. Moreover, in this sort of situation, the word afraid was not in Long Fei's heart at all. He was incomparably calm as he stared at Tai Hong, who was in the air. Long Fei muttered to himself, closer, closer, a little closer. The sword chi raged as it came crashing down from the sky. In the deep pit, sand and rocks flew everywhere as the flesh on Long Fei's face moved under the intense sword chi. The heavenly bone on his back looked as if it had been cut by a blade, and lines of cracks appeared on it. Too strong. Yi repeatedly shouted, brat, quickly run, run. Absolutely not. Suddenly, Long Fei held onto the dragon Salia tightly, his body was almost linked to it. At this moment, Yang Huang ancestor's voice sounded, it's right at this time, buzz. Amongst Long Fei's damaged pubes, the Yang Huang ancestor released all of his power of Emperor Yang Huang, monarch / At the same time, Long Fei's idea rushed into the dragon Salia, old man, release your power. His idea stared at the sleeping dark dragon god, the incomparably huge dark dragon god. Dark dragon god's eyes were filled with anger as he suddenly opened his eyes. In that instant, the power of Emperor Yang Huang rushed into the dragon Salia and the dark dragon god suddenly roared, roar. Long Fei raised his blade with both hands. He was no longer him. He was no longer under control. It was the Yang Huang ancestor that was controlling him. His current strength was still too weak, not enough for him to truly wake up Dark Dragon God. It was the Yang Huang ancestor's power that woke him up. In the blink of an eye, the dragon Salia suddenly grew several times larger, and rushed into the sky on the back of the blade. Clouds billowed. Thunder roared. Ember Dragon God / A blade came down, shocking the heavens and earth, sobbing the ghosts with a peerless / Rumble. The blade energy linked to the sky, and with a slash, the sky split open, directly striking Tai Hong, who was in the air. Catcher, catcher. The sky turned dark. Was covered by the dark dragon god's huge figure. The moment the blade slashed down, Tai Hong's sword aura was immediately shattered. The powerful sword aura crushed his mind like a tsunami. Rumble. Tai Hong's eyes were filled with anger, and the blade chi imprinted in his eyes. Immortal Foundation. Open. A strand of Immortal Foundation opened. The second Immortal Foundation opened. It was not until the sixth Immortal Foundation had opened. It formed into six strongest power of celestial defense. At the same time, bang, the first Immortal Meridian had shattered. Bing, the second Immortal Root was destroyed. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth rays of Immortal Roots condensed and cracked. Its power was extremely strong, and Tai Hong's body was suddenly smashed to the ground. Boom. The ground cracked, and just like a crater where a meteorite crashed into the ground, Tai Hong was completely crushed inside the crater. Blood sprayed out wildly from his mouth in an extremely sorry state. Even Yi Tian, who had rushed down with him, was sent flying by the incomparably strong saber chi. He crashed into a rock 1,000 meters away and vomited a mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. At the same time, his heart was also incomparably shocked. This power. Long family, the true power of Long family. Yi Yi's heart was in turmoil. The Long family's calamity had always been a mystery. However, the power of the Long family was recorded. It was exactly the same as what he felt now, but it hadn't reached the peak of strength yet. The violent sound reverberated through the entire South Horizon region, spreading out from the skies towards the Great Sky Peak. It resounded in the skies above the Sky Marshall continent, and all of them were emotionally moved. This loud sound caused countless experts to open their eyes. A few of the experts felt their hearts tremble. The power of the Long family? Has the power of the Long family awakened? Who is it? Who is it? Some were trembling, some were excited, and some were afraid. This power swore to the Tianwu continent that the Long family would rise again. At the same time, in a certain corner of the Tianwu continent, in a domain where no one had stepped into for millions of years, a dragon's roar came from deep underground. It resonated with the loud noise in the sky. The roar of a dragon. Chao Tian Peak. When the blade slashed down, Yang Huang ancestor coughed continuously, like an old man who had just passed away from death, swaying back and forth. He was even weaker than when he woke up in Long Fei's body. That remnant soul was like a candle in the wind, that could be extinguished at any time. For Long Fei. He gave his all. He didn't hold back at all. Patriarch. Long Fei's heart ached. Yang Huang ancestor laughed blandly. I am fine, I will go first, rest. Then it disappeared without a trace, as if nothing had happened. If you want to help the Yang Huang ancestor recover, there's only one way: kill them, explode the holy artifact. Long Fei held onto the dragon Salya, leapt up, and directly charged into the gigantic crater, saying, "Go and die for this, daddy." Sister-in-law, 1-forward/plus health, strongest upgrade system. Everyone was shocked. Long Fei arrogantly roared out. At the same time, Jiyu Wuji's heart was overwhelmed with shock. At the same time, he rushed out. Chapter 28_841923568663. Just a moment ago, when he had executed the searing yellow dragon god slash, it had already created an incomparably terrifying critical strike. Just a moment ago, when he had executed the searing yellow dragon god slash, it had already created an incomparably terrifying critical strike. Tai Hong was already left with a little bit of HP. Kill him. As soon as the berserk energy was released, the supreme holy artifact would immediately burst out and be consumed by the ancestor, allowing him to recover. Thus, Long Fei did not think about anything else. All he could think of was, explode him, save the ancestor, save the ancestor. He had never felt such a weak ancestor. Right now, they could not even detect the existence of the Yang Huang ancestor at all. If not for Yang Huang ancestor's help, he would have died somewhere in these 3 years. Even though she was his master, he wanted her to be like a grandpa protecting his grandson. If she was in danger, she would have to use all of her strength to protect him. He did not hesitate to use the power within the remnant soul. That was the source of his life. If he used up all his soul energy, he would disappear for good. I have to kill him. Boom, boom, boom. With every step that was like thunder, Long Fei dragged his dragon Salya and leaped into the air, chopping down at Tai Hong with his blade. In this split second, whoosh, a black figure took a step ahead of him, landing beside Tai Hong, and with a leap, turned around and landed 10 kilometers in the sky. Boom. Long Fei's blade slashed through the air, his body shot forward, and chased straight ahead. Fuck your ancestors. Ah! In a fit of rage, Long Fei charged forward regardless of everything else. But Jiyu Wuji did not dare to stay. Yi could feel that this was the power of the Long family, but he could also do the same. Although this type of power was not as powerful as in the legends, it was still incomparably terrifying. If they were to release it once more, they might really die here. Jiyu Wuji moved in the air and shouted, "Yunxian, run!" 6 Yunxian had been paying attention to the situation over here. Upon hearing his master's order, he didn't stop and took a step forward. The flying sword beneath his feet moved, and in the next moment it landed beside Jiyu Wuji. Ah! Long Fei roared in anger once again, wanting to give chase. However, Jiyu Wuji and the rest were too fast. It was impossible for the War King to catch up with him in terms of cultivation. He couldn't even fly at all when it was 10,000 meters in the air. Yi Yi shouted loudly, "Long Fei, don't chase after him." At this moment, someone panicked. Hong Tianjun. As he watched the six-cloud immortal fly away, he turned completely foolish. He shouted loudly, "Master, Grand Master, bring me, bring me. I am a demon slayer, the one you need." "Master!" A loud shout. Yun Xian also frowned, looking at Jiyu Wuji. Jiyu Wuji's eyes were cold as he said, "This is all because of you, damn you." And then, Jiyu Wuji said coldly, "Since you are a demon slayer, then go and kill the demon slayer. Kill that little bastard Long Fei." Kill Long Fei? Long Fei released the giant demon. How could he kill Long Fei when he unleashed that terrifying power that even he had never seen before? Right now, the thing he was most afraid of was Long Fei. He was so scared that he didn't even dare to show his inner demon. Even now, the inner demon was still trembling from Long Fei's 81 slashes. Did he still dare to kill Long Fei? It was simply a joke. Hong Tianjun looked at Long Fei, who was in the sky. Not to mention killing him, he didn't even dare to look straight into Long Fei's eyes. He was simply too scared. At the same time, Hong Tianjun flew towards the other side. "You want to leave?" Li Yuanbar became angry. "Did the boss let you go?" Boom. Li Yuanbar leapt heavily into the air, and the furious lightning in his hands smashed towards the top of Hong Tianjuan's head. "Get the hell down here." Rumble. Hong Tianjuan's body sank. He did not try to defend at all, and the only thing on his mind right now was this: run. The instant he was hit, he leaped again. "Still want to flee?" Boom. Lin Yosheng's water domain bound him down, and with a heavy shout, he said, "Get the hell down here." Boom. Hong Tianjun was struck down once again. He flew away again. He was crushed down by the Arhat, then flew away, and then was pulled down by the Sky Spirit. He was scared to the point of peeing. 6. If Yun Xian and the rest escaped, would he be able to jump up? The four great King Kong fiercely defended Hong Tianjun. Try an F** King move 1. Hong Tianjun kneeled on the ground, and said, "Four big brothers, please spare me, everything was forced on me by those immortals, it was all of them." Li Yuanbar bellowed, "You dare to snatch a woman from our boss with this kind of strength?" Hong Tianjun immediately said, "I am unworthy, I am trash, I am just an ant. Liu Luoshi is your boss, he is his, I am completely unworthy. He was once the strongest person in the South Horizon region. Now, he begged for mercy on his knees, afraid of death." The four King Kong were filled with contempt. The more Long Fei chased after him, the harder it was for him to break through. He was not even 10,000 meters into the air. The continuous impact was constantly suppressed by the limits of the War King. Finally, looking at Hong Tianjun, the rage in his heart surged. He heavily descended and stood in front of Hong Tianjun. Hong Tianjun trembled in fear, her face was pale white, her lips trembled as she said, "Long Fei, don't kill me, don't kill me, Liu Luoshi is yours, and the Heaven Sect is also yours. Don't kill me, just treat me like a dog and let me go." Long Fei did not hesitate at all, looked at Hong Tianjuan's pitiful appearance, and coldly said, "A person like you is not qualified to be my opponent. Die." He took a step forward. A single slash. He directly beheaded Hong Tianjun. Instant kill. Hong Tianjun simply did not have any thoughts of resisting. The fear in his heart had already caused him to lose the ability to resist, otherwise it would be impossible for him to be killed by Long Fei in an instant. At the same time, Long Fei's heart was moved. "Release your striking attribute." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hong Tianjun, for obtaining 10 experience points, true chi point, and energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Falling Immortal Palm. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Vein of Ancient First Emperor. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Azure Rainbow Divine Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Geocentric Stone. The system beeped. When Long Fei saw the Azure Rainbow Divine Sword, his heart immediately moved, and he said, "Ancestor, the holy artifact has exploded, it has appeared. Quickly swallow it, swallow and recover your energy, quickly." In the past, whenever a holy artifact appeared, the ancestor would examine it first and then swallow it. But now, the cyan rainbow sword was still inside the space ring S without moving. Yang Huang ancestor did not react in the slightest. Long Fei's expression became anxious, and said anxiously, "Ancestor, you started devouring you already have a holy artifact, you think the cyan rainbow sword is too low-leveled? Kunlun mirror, swallow it. You can devour all I have, Dragon Salya, you can now devour all you want. Swallow it. What's wrong with you?" Long Fei had never been this flustered before, this was the first time. Chapter 38_841923566864. At this moment, Jiyu Wuji's voice suddenly exploded in the sky. "Yi Yi, you have evil intentions behind killing the demon slayer. You will be wanted by the Hall of Immortals. Ha ha ha. I'm just waiting to be hunted down." Jiyu Wuji did not go far. He was waiting to confirm whether or not Hong Tianjun had truly been killed. If he could not bring Hong Tianjun away, then he would have to create trouble. He wanted Yi Yi to be beyond redemption. As for Long Fei, as long as he could get rid of Yi Yang in one hit, Long Fei would not be a problem at all. Following that, Jiyu Wuji laughed sinisterly. "Long Fei, don't even think about escaping. If you have the guts, come to Immortal Domain. Fuck your ancestors." Long Fei's heart was filled with anger. Jiyu Wuji's words were like adding oil to fire. He roared, "Old fellow, if you have the guts, don't run. If you have the guts, get the hell down here. See if I can't beat your *T out of you." "Humph." Jiyu Wuji coldly snorted, and said, "Brat, I'll be waiting for you at Immortal Domain." Finished. His figure disappeared, transforming into a ball of light and disappearing into the horizon. He had to return to the Heavenly Hall of Immortals quickly. He wanted Yi Yi to be beyond redemption. He had to make sure that the Long family would be beyond redemption. Right now, other than the giant demons, who else could be a match for Tongtian Hall of Immortals? No one. Long Fei simply did not pay attention to them, and said, "Immortal Domain will definitely go, just you wait." Yi Yi descended down, looked at Long Fei and said excitedly, "Good kid, as expected of a descendant of the Long family. You're crazy and overbearing enough, ha ha ha." Long Fei slightly said, "Many thanks to Senior for your help." Yi Fazi said, "What are you saying? It's my honor to be able to do something for you." The Long family was once the hegemon of the Sky Martial continent. He was an absolute king. However, that mysterious catastrophe had caused the Long family to fall like a meteor. Now that Long Fei had ignited the flames of the Long family again, the Long family would definitely rise again. Yi Yi was still very excited to be able to help Long Fei. Yi Yi saw that Long Fei's eyebrows were knitted tightly and did not have the slightest hint of happiness. He could not help but ask, "The elders of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals were chased away by you, why aren't you happy?" That's a powerful warrior from the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. The ultimate experts of the Immortal Domain, they are not ordinary people. Indeed. It was exciting to be able to kill them all, but Long Fei couldn't be happy at all, and in fact, his heart sank even more. He had initially thought that after becoming a war emperor, he would be very strong, able to crush Hong Tianjun. However, he still worked hard to cultivate and level up. In the end, he became an emperor and became a powerful expert in the South Horizon region's war king. However, still not enough. The power that was able to suppress Jiyu Wuji and crush a ranker like Tai Hong was not his, but a giant demon's. It was from the Yang Huang ancestor. His strength was not even on par with Jiyu Wuji's, he simply wasn't qualified at all. He was still too weak. Moreover, he had no idea what was happening in the Yang Huang ancestor at all, even the holy artifact could not be devoured. This showed how weak the patriarch was, and how he was going to help him. Long Fei was incomparably anxious in his heart. Looking at the elder Yi, Long Fei couldn't help but ask, "Senior, do you have any magic treasures that can help a remnant soul repair it?" Long Fei didn't know how to help the patriarch. Since the ancestor was a remnant soul, he had to find a treasure to repair it. This was the only thing he could do.
Huh.
Yi shuddered slightly as he said, "A treasure used to repair the remnant soul? I have never heard of this kind of soul treasure before, but I have never heard of a treasure called the God's soul herb that can be used to repair remnant souls. What do you want it for?" Long Fei's eyes shook, and he immediately said, "Senior, do you have this type of spirit grass on you? I can give you whatever you want." Very excited. Regardless of whether it was useful or not, Long Fei wanted to give it a try. Yi Dao said, "God's soul herbs live at the heavenly soul cliff of the immortal domain. Flying birds and monkeys are not allowed to cross it. I also only saw the effect of God's soul herbs on the recovery of residual souls from an ancient book, but I am also not sure if it is effective." Sky Soul Cliff. Immortal domain. Long Fei's brows tightened, looked at the Long family members behind him, and said, "Senior, can you bring me there? I have to get the God's soul herb, I have to save a person."
Now.
Yi Yifan was stunned. Long Fei said, "The faster the better. How long can the Yang Huang ancestor hold on for?" Long Fei did not know, he just wanted to get the God's soul herb as soon as possible, regardless of whether it was useful or not. Long Fei wanted to do it because that was the only thing he could do for the Yang Huang ancestor. Without the Yang Huang ancestor's help, the current him would not be here. Yi looked at Long Fei and said, "All right, I'll bring you there." At this moment, Liu Luoshi took a step forward. Li Yuanba and the others also walked over. Jojo, the leopard girl, also walked over. The Long family's army also walked up, and all of them looked at Long Fei. Long Sanfeng said, "Xiao Fei, do whatever you want to do. You don't have to worry about the Long family, Master." Xiao Bai and Bing Hu took a step forward. Long Fei turned around, looked at everyone and said, "There is one person that I must save, and that is the fastest way to do so. I'm sorry, I don't have much time to stay here, I'm sorry." After settling the matter with the Heaven sect, Long Fei really wanted to play chess with his grandfather, play with Jojo and the others, and chat about life and dreams. But he had no time at all. Yi said, "I observed just now that all of you are extremely talented. There is still half a year before the Immortal Domain's admissions test, so all of you are here to attend. When that happens..." He looked at Xiong Longfei. Long Fei said, "I will also go." He had to go. Jiu Wuji must be killed. Tai Hong had to kill. Otherwise, he would have let himself down, and the Patriarch. Half a year later, "Assemble the God Emperor Academy." Looking at and Bing Hua, he said, "The two of you will also stay here. After half a year, you will come to the God Emperor Academy with Li Yuanba and the others." Bing Hua nodded heavily and said, "Yes. Jojo, Leopard Girl, Luo Shi. All of you are coming." Long Fei held back her tears as she turned around and said to Yi, "Senior, let's go." Long Sanfeng said, "Xiao Fei, be careful yourself. Young Master, be careful. Boss, we will definitely go to the God Emperor Academy." Young Lord. Yi idea moved, a flying sword was floating in midair, he leaped up and landed on it. Long Fei also jumped up and said, "Let's go." He didn't look back. He didn't dare to look back. He was worried that if he did, he wouldn't be able to hold himself back. Yi didn't say anything further. Stand firm. The idea activated and the flying sword became a rainbow. It turned into a streak of light and disappeared into the horizon. Baidu search, half afloat the Chao Heaven sect. Long Sanfeng's body slightly sank, and said, "We cannot drag Xiao Fei down. The Tianwu continent has always looked down on the South Horizon region, thinking that the South Horizon region is a place where trash will gather. This year, we'll let them see just who is the trash. In half a year, God Emperor Academy will recruit new students. We must let them experience the power of our South Horizon region." Chapter 48_841923568865. One day later. The Heavenly Hall of Immortals. "What?" Supreme God was furious. "The Demon Slayer is dead. Who dares?" Jiu Wuji's body was covered in blood, and he did not go to clean up the mess. The anger of the Supreme God was just as he had expected. Jiyu Wuji's heart turned sinister as he said, "Supreme God is First Elder Yi." Supreme God frowned. Yi? He's too impudent. The entire Hall of Immortals was in an uproar. The Elder Yi killed the Demon Slayer? Demonic Slaughterer was the hope of Sky Marshal Continent. To deal with these big shots, that was the only thing they could do. It was not easy for a Demon Slaughterer to fall in this manner. The anger in Supreme God's heart was exceptionally strong. An elder said slightly, "Supreme God, although Elder Yi has 6 immortal roots, but his blood lineage was a devil's legacy, and his ancestor is also a heavenly mystery great demon. His appearance in the South Horizon region this time around may have been planned to kill the Demon Slayer." As soon as he finished, all the elders came to a realization. Supreme God also frowned, killing intent flashing in his eyes. And then, Supreme God shouted, "Send me the immortal token and send the Star Spirit Hunters. You must find Yi and bring him to me." As soon as he finished, with a wave of his hand, a celestial token flew out and exploded in midair. It was also at this time. 18 streaks of light flew out from the sky above the heavenly Hall of Immortals. They were all the top rankers in all of Hall of Immortals, the Star Spirit Messenger. Jiyu Wuji sneered coldly, Yi, just you wait to die. I'll kill you first, then Long Fei and the Long family. This time, I will completely eradicate the Long family from its roots." The Supreme God said slightly, "Elder Jiyu, Elder Tai, this time, although the two of you did not bring back the Demon Slayer, you have to do hard work and no contributions. You can cultivate in the Celestial Immortal Cave for a year. Recover your cultivation as soon as possible and help my Heavenly Hall of Immortals find the Demon Slayer." Jiyu Wuji and Tai Hong's expression changed. They were extremely excited in their hearts, and immediately knelt on the ground and said, "Thank you, Supreme God." All the elders were filled with envy. In another place, Yi also didn't expect Jiyu Wuji to invert right from wrong, making him the target of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Moreover, he also knew very well that Long Fei was the real Demon Slayer. The awakening of the power within his body had shocked him immensely. On the way, Long Fei learned more about the Long family from Yi. After a calamity, the Long family's experts mysteriously disappeared. What exactly was hidden inside? In addition to Long Quangtian's continuous search in the infernal realm, there wasn't even the slightest result. Was the person who spoke of the Yuling Island Lord's words in the Demon Sea his own father? His father was not in the immortal domain. The more Long Fei understood, the more mysteries he felt, and the stronger the secrets of the Long family were. There must be something behind this secret. What is it? Long Fei secretly asked himself. Perhaps, only by raising the dragon Salia to the highest realm, can we release the Dark Dragon Goddess? Right. I still have another dragon domain mission, and another 6 years or so. If I can find the dragon region and the 10,000 dragons, perhaps the secrets of the Long family will be solved as well. Long Quangtian had once said that the Long family and the dragon Salia were inseparable. If the dragon Salia could be raised to perfection, perhaps there would be an answer. However, what was the level of dragon Salia? How much further away from being a paragon? Long Fei basically did not know, and he did not even find the heart of ancient fairy tree that was needed to level up dragon Salia. Huff. Long Fei exhaled a long breath, and said, "No matter what, I will definitely accomplish all of this." Yi looked at Long Fei's resolute eyes and smiled lightly. "Don't be anxious, everything will be answered. Also, don't worry about the matters regarding your blood lineage. As far as I know, your Long family's ancestor also had negative activation to dragon blood. If he could become an absolute expert in the Sky Marshal continent, you definitely could too." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Thank you." Long Fei was clear in his heart that he did not care about the matters regarding negative activation to dragon blood at all. However, the Long family's secret was also related to his negative activation to dragon blood. There was a lot to it. The Long family's secret was very deep, but it was also very shallow. As long as Long Fei could find the dragon domain, he would be able to know about all of this. Half a month later, Yi Yi's idea moved, controlling the flying sword, and landed on a hillside. At the bottom of the hill was a small town. The town was not big, but the crowd was dense. Yi Dao said, "If we enter from this town, we will be entering the God's Soul Mountain. Look at that huge mountain in the distance, it's the Heavenly Soul Peak. The legendary sect's God's Soul herb grow at the edge of the mountain's cliff, but no one has picked them up yet." Long Fei took a look at the Heavenly Soul Peak in the clouds. Even though they were tens of thousands of meters apart, Long Fei could still feel its valiance. A shocking impact. They entered the town. "Have you heard? A fairy beast appeared on the Heavenly Soul Peak. As long as we kill it, we will be able to obtain one immortal foundation. You just heard about it. Haven't you noticed that there are strangers in the town these days? These people are all here for the fairy beast. So many battles. I heard that there's a battle going on in the God Emperor Academy. Everyone from God Emperor Academy is here. Not only that, the people from the Dark Academy are also here. I'm afraid this is going to be a fight between two big academies." Many people on the street were discussing. Long Fei asked, "Senior, what exactly are immortal roots?" As soon as his voice fell, many people looked at him with disdain. "Country bumpkin." Long Fei turned a deaf ear. Yi explained, "Immortal roots are power, talent, and also potential in the immortal domain. Immortal roots are divided into 9 grades, and they can be comprehended. We can also kill fairy beastess and obtain saint spirit grasses. However, any method is extremely difficult. I only have 6 immortal roots. 3 of the immortal roots were comprehended by me, and the other 3 were obtained by chance. Everything depends on your luck. Furthermore, you have either fused with the level 1 immortal root, or you have comprehended a second-level fairy route, or you have merged with it, and can't fuse with the level 1 immortal route to improve. You heard it just now, a single immortal foundation can attract countless experts to fight for it. Immortal Domain's God Emperor Academy, Dark Academy's immortal foundation is extremely rare. I didn't expect that a fairy beast would actually appear in the Heavenly Soul Peak. Looks like there will be a fight for it." Yi exhaled slightly. The South Horizon region. Warrior to the 9th level of War King, this was also the realm the Long family's ancestors divided into. There were also 9 stages in Immortal Domain. With the Immortal, they were divided into the Immortal Realm, Spiritual World, Wild Immortal Realm, Virtual Immortals Realm, Blood Immortal Realm, Golden Immortal Realm, Yuanxian Realm, Unity Immortal Realm, Immortal Realm, and the Great Perfection Realm, Flying Immortal Realm. In the Sky Martial continent, the Immortal Domain was the center. The South Horizon region had its own division of realms because it was the Long family's territory, but in Immortal Domain, his cultivation was equivalent to a 3rd stage immortal. Baidu search, half afloat the lowest level of existence. Suddenly, the town's northern part rumbled loudly, as if a mountain had collapsed. The few of them rushed into the town and said, "Not good, the beasts have attacked." Chapter 5, Immortal Domain chapter begins. 8_84-19-2356866. Demon Beast Siege. Demon Beast Siege. Monster Siege. Hearing these words, Long Fei's eyes immediately shook, his heart becoming excited. Damn, knowing that my immortal domain needs experience to level up, this isn't a behemoth attacking a city, is this the way to send me experience? Senior. I'll go take a look first. Without waiting for Yi Yi's consent, Long Fei had already rushed out. The levels of immortal domain are different. Furthermore, even though he was currently in the War King realm, his strength was only at the 3rd level of the nascent immortal stage, an existence that was completely unranked. Want to become stronger? Upgrade was the only way. Heh! Yi Yi was startled. When he reacted, Long Fei had already disappeared into the crowd of people who were fleeing in panic. The others were all running away, but he was running for his life. It had to be said that Yi Yi could not understand Long Fei. However, Long Fei could not let anything happen to him, so he quickly followed. At the same time, he vaguely guessed the reason behind the demonic beast's attack, that fairy beast. Quick, run. Flee, The demon beasts are running into the town. Aren't the experts of God Emperor Academy here? Are they not going to take action? And the experts of the Dark Academy? People on the streets were fleeing like mad tide. At the same time, there were also people shouting from the crowd of people. Many of them knew that the experts from the God Emperor Academy and the Dark Academy had entered the town, but did not take action. They attacked. In a luxurious private room of a tea house. "Boss, it seems like that fairy beast is angry. Our medicine is working." A young man around 20 years old who was dressed in the God Emperor Academy student uniform laughed proudly. He was an immortal poison master. Professional poison. Every time before he killed a demon beast, he would make the first move. This profession was very treacherous. There were 5 people in the room. It was a small group, and everyone had their own responsibilities and division of labor. "Boss, should we make a move? If this goes on, this town will be destroyed. If these demonic beasts rush out like crazy, these commoners definitely won't be able to withstand it." Not waiting for him to finish. A skinny man coldly laughed. "All 5, did you lose your mind? What does the death of these people have to do with us? If they die, they die. If they die, they die. Our purpose in coming here is not to save them, but the fairy beast. Do you understand? It's the fairy beast. Idiot." As soon as he finished, the other 3 couldn't help but laugh loudly. They did not even think about the lives of these civilians. In fact, they knew that the fairy beast was crazy even before they tried to use poison. Those demon beasts would charge out of the forest crazily and attack the town for sure. However, they did not consider these civilians at all. In their eyes, there was no need for ordinary people to live. This was the world. So what if he's a student of the God Emperor Academy? They were all thinking about themselves. As for the weak, he could only be crushed like an ant by the giant wheels of this era. He had no dignity and could only talk about human rights. In the South Horizon region, this immortal domain was even more prominent. They did not act. While sipping tea in the box with incomparable satisfaction, Ji Hao looked at those poor people madly fleeing on the street, occasionally letting out loud sounds of ridicule and laughter. This is the student of the God Emperor Academy? In another place, the small battle squadron of the Dark Academy was more or less the same. Seems like Lin Long has already made his move on the fairy beast. "Big brother, in a small forest," a man asked. The man in charge smiled and said, "No rush. Big brother, the poor people of this town. This is the immortal domain, they are not going to save us, what's the use of us doing that? Furthermore, we need to conserve our strength to deal with the fairy beast and Lin Long. As for these poor people, whether they die or not has nothing to do with us. It's all the same. No one cares about the weak." And then there was Long Fei. He rushed madly towards the entrance of the town, the sand and dust on the mountainside billowing, the beasts blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Long Fei clenched his fists. Long time no see. He was excited. In the game, what he liked the most was monsters attacking the city. This was because this was a level dungeon and the drop rate was at least twice as high. This must be a great feeling. However, this was just a small town. The walls were made of wooden fences, and the first wave of impact was probably not enough to stop it. Once the demonic beasts had charged into the town, they would inevitably drive straight in. The innocent commoners in the town would definitely suffer countless casualties. Long Fei's mind raced. What do we do? What should we do? I don't care. Long Fei walked over to a guard leader who was standing on top of the fence and asked, "You are the defense army here?" His head was drenched in cold sweat, and his body was trembling uncontrollably. If not for the tiny bit of responsibility he still had in his heart, he would have escaped long ago. He looked at Long Fei and said, "You are only a 3rd-stage immortal, hurry up and flee, this is not a place for you." Long Fei asked, "How many of you are there?" Chief Bodyguard didn't want to pay attention to Long Fei and said, "Brat, do you know what this is? This is the first time I've seen a demon beast attack a city, but I've heard about this countless times. Do you know what the consequences are? It was all killed. Now get the hell off the fence." His expression was too nervous, adding on to the cold sweat that was pouring down like rain. His entire body was trembling non-stop, and his saliva sprayed all over Long Fei's face. Long Fei grabbed him by the collar, his gaze darkened, and he bellowed, "Stop it right there. Your father has seen more monsters attacking than you can even imagine. If you want to live, you should all gather, all of you, and listen to my commands, understand?" Several guards rushed forward. Long Fei glared and those people suddenly stopped. The chief bodyguard's face turned cold. He was panicking in his heart and did not know how to deal with it. Long Fei's sudden appearance, he did not care if it was useful or not, and stared at Long Fei. "Let's see what tricks you can come up with." At this point in time, he had no other choice. He could only choose to believe in Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the distance between the mountain slope and the town, and started to wildly calculate in his mind, and at the same time crazily said, "Replace them all with crossbows. The catapult is ready. Do you have kerosene? Collect some kerosene. Quick, quick, quick. There's no time, move faster, move faster. Listen to my commands." Long Fei spoke extremely quickly, and those guards were busy. It was unknown if they trusted Long Fei, or if they were too busy to be afraid, but they calmed down for a moment. He was much calmer than before. In another place, Yi stood quietly at the side, looking at Long Fei and his busy commanding look. He became more excited in his heart, a talent from God's genera. It's definitely the demon slayer. Under his lead, the blood million demonic owls will be suppressed again. Half an hour later, everything was ready. The demonic beast was about to arrive. Long Fei was excited in his heart. He clenched his fists and said, "Come. My first time." Chapter 18_841923568667. Go take a look. There's a madman leading the town's guards to stop the demon beasts from attacking the city. Go take a look. There's a madman leading the town's guards to stop the demon beasts from attacking the city. There's such a madman. Are you King stupid? Hurry up and go take a look. Do you want to die or do you want to die? Hurry up and run. A sound came from the street, but not many people stopped. They all rushed out of the town as usual. Is there really a brainless person these days? All five. I always thought that you were stupid. I never thought that there would be someone even more stupid than you that would actually go and block the demon beast's attack. Isn't that just courting death? He must be a fool. In the box of the God Emperor Academy, a few people started laughing with ridicule. The corner of Lin Long's mouth curled up coldly, and said, "Although the level of the God's Soul Mountain's demon beasts aren't high, no one can defend against the wild charge of a town like this. Boss, what should we do? I think that fairy beast is about there too." Lin Long slightly said, "There's no need to rush. This fairy beast is a bit special. It might be a second-grade spirit root fairy beast. Let's first use the Dark Academy as cannon fodder." On the fence, Long Fei looked at the roaring beasts and said solemnly, "Hold on, hold on, hold on. You must stop my orders. Just a little more. Just a little more." Suddenly, with a heavy wave of his right hand, Long Fei roared out, "Stone-throwing machine, release." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Asterisk as the barrels of fire oil were thrown out. The moment the fire oil exploded on the ground, Long Fei suddenly roared, "Fire bow, release." Sue, sue, sue. A few rockets flew out. Rumble, rumble. The explosion of flames was just like a mage's forbidden spell, crazily burning amidst the horde of beasts. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for mastering commanding technique with 100 experience points, true breath with 100 points, and with 100 points as a special reward. Cultivation method, command technique level, none description. Commanding can raise the morale of a party, allowing you to share your team battle experience. Long Fei was startled. He didn't think too much about it. The oil of fire had slightly slowed down the attacks of those beasts. They also started to burn crazily, however. Fire oil attacks have a fatal weakness. Once the demon beasts rushed into the town would turn into a sea of fire, so he had to kill the beasts before they entered the town. Archers, get ready. 75 degrees in the sky. 10,000 arrows, shoot. Long Fei shouted. Therefore, All the guards pulled the bow and shot out. Arrows rained down from the sky like a storm, thrusting out with all their might against the demon beasts that were burning in the flames. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Goblin Beast 4, obtaining 100 EXP, 1 point for power of Celestial and 1 point for energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Goblin Beast 4, obtaining 110 experience, power of Celestial X1, and energy values X1. The system beep crazily sounded at this moment. Although it was not killed by Long Fei himself, it was killed under his command, thus he could still gain experience. However, after the first beep, a strange notification sound came from the system. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for entering Immortal Domain. Experience conversion. True breath conversion. In that short moment, not only did Long Fei control the system himself, the system also transferred over. Player, Long Fei rank, level 3 Immortal experience, power of Celestial, full, note, 1, 5 million true breath S converted to 150 power of Celestial points. Spiritual root, none technique, toading skill, normal, dragon chop, ordinary, Yama punch, normal, lucky value, 20 points affability, 1 point war pet, icefire, god, xiaobai, god. The system had changed. Many things had changed. Long Fei's cultivation technique had all become ordinary. In the South Horizon region, all of his cultivation techniques were divine level, but in the Immortal Domain, they were unable to reach the divine level, just like his cultivation. In the South Horizon region, he was a war king, but the realms were different here. Compared to here, his war king was only at the 3rd level of the Immortal realm. However, a lot remained. The things that Long Fei had comprehended did not weaken. Even the war beast Xiao Bai, ice and fire, was still a divine beast. These things were all secondary. Before he entered the Immortal Domain, he already knew this. The thing he wanted to do now was stop the monsters from slaughtering the city. Ding, ding, ding. The experience bar kept ringing. Those burning demonic beasts were almost all killed, and the speed of the demonic beast's charge also slowed down. Cheers erupted from the fence. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Every guard was laughing excitedly. This was the most important battle in their lives, and also the most exciting. Brother, you're really great, ha ha ha. Our God's Soul Town does not know how to thank you. Chief Bodyguard looked at Long Fei with incomparable gratitude. Long Fei was also happy. The remaining beasts were all roaring in fear. They held back and feared, but they did not retreat. Long Fei had a bad premonition, and said, Captain, holding on to the demon beasts, we haven't continued attacking. Call for our brothers to rest up quickly. The chief bodyguard was startled, then said, those demon beasts have been beaten to the point that they don't dare to come here anymore. They must be scared. They won't come here again, right? Several guards also looked at Long Fei, and said, if they're afraid, they definitely won't dare to come. Long Fei said, that's not right. They did not continue with their attack, but they did not retreat either. They should be waiting. The next wave of attacks will definitely be even fiercer. Quick, get people to prepare. The ominous premonition in Long Fei's heart became stronger and stronger. He had never encountered a situation like this within the game, but this was after all, not a game. Instinct told him. The reason why these demon beasts did not attack was because they are waiting. Chief Bodyguard's face turned cold. He immediately ran out and said, quickly recuperate, quick, quick, quick. The guards didn't dare to slight their captain even when they saw how crazy he looked. However, stopping a wave of demon beasts' attacks had made all of them incomparably excited and confident, as if they were no longer afraid. Many people in the town had returned. He blocked the demon beast attack. When did the guards of the God's Soul Town become so strong? What's going on? Everyone had questions in their hearts. Many people stopped running and turned to look at the other side of the town. Could it be that the experts from the God Emperor Academy made their move? If they were to make a move, they might be able to withstand it. In the box, Lin Long's brows tightly knitted together, and asked, who blocked the demon beast's attack? Number 3 ran into the room and said, Boss, the guards of the town are blocking the beast's attack. Impossible. A horde of demon beasts is so strong, how can the town's useless guards withstand them? Lin Long asked coldly. Other than those guards, is there anyone else? The situation is too chaotic. There are only the town guards and a kid that we've never seen before on the fence. That brat's cultivation is merely at the 3rd grade of the nascent immortal stage. It definitely has nothing to do with him. There's one thing for sure, it's not the Dark Academy. Lin Long frowned, an unfamiliar kid. Lin Long's expression was a little cold, and he said coldly, "Brat, you dare to ruin my good plan, I'll kill you." At this moment, boom, roar. A burst of furious roars erupted from the depths of the forest. Lin Long's eyes shook, and said, "The fairy beast is angry, hey. I want to see if you can withstand it this time around." Chapter 28_841923568868. Roar. Roar. With a roar, the area within hundreds of kilometers began to tremble. Long Fei's mind shook. They're here. It was also at this time. The guards on the fence suddenly turned pale, one of the guards trembled, and shouted, "Fairy beast, it's the fairy beast is coming." When the 2 words fairy beast came out, all the guards trembled. Even Chief Bodyguard could not help but shiver. His body trembled and he almost fell to the ground. He shook his head and said, "It's over. It's over. It's really over this time." The fairy beast was too strong. It was incomparable to a demonic beast. Fairy beasts were just like cultivators. They had immortal roots in their bodies, so this power was extremely terrifying. If the power of the immortal foundation exploded, even the god's soul town would be razed to the ground. Chief Bodyguard walked to Long Fei's side and said, "Little brother, you should run. This town can't be saved anymore. We are simply no match for the fairy beast. Dealing with these beasts would take a toll on them. Once the fairy beast rushed down, they would not be a match for it." Long Fei looked at the dejected guards, his voice becoming heavy as he shouted fiercely, "All of you, stand up and turn around to look behind you. Let's see who they are." Under the fence, in the town, some of the older, weaker women and children raised their heads to look at the guards on the fence. They were all the guards' family members and relatives. Because they were resisting, their relatives had stayed in the town. The guards stood up one by one. Long Fei said, "For the sake of my family, for the sake of my home, as a man, even if I can't do it, I have to. So what if you're a fairy beast? Even if the sky falls, we can still take it." Long Fei said as his blood boiled. He needed these guards to be alert again. If they gave up fighting, then this town would really become a dead town. Tens of thousands of poor people would all die. "Daddy, you have to do your best. Mother and I are waiting for you here," a 5 or 6-year-old girl said seriously as she looked at Chief Bodyguard on the fence with her big eyes. Beside her, a beautiful lady was wearing a veil. In her hands was the oil that she had collected a moment ago. She looked at Chief Bodyguard and nodded her head heavily. At this moment, the poor people under the fence were all looking at the guards on the fence, exhorting them repeatedly. It is the duty of every man to guard his home. At this moment, Chief Bodyguard said solemnly, "Little brother, just tell us what to do, we will listen to you. At worst, we will die, even if it means death, I will block the demon beast's attack. We'll listen to you. Fairy beast, come." The flames of war in the hearts of the crowd were ignited as their fighting spirits were ignited. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for cultivating the skill commander skill level increase. Cultivation method, command technique grade, none level, 2 description. Casting of skills has doubled morale, experience points has increased by 1/5. Long Fei grinned and said, "We're just waiting for your words, we still have a little time. Everyone, quickly prepare." At this moment, Yi Yi sent a sound transmission to Long Fei, saying, "Long Fei, you people won't be able to stop the fairy beast. Also, this fairy beast is enraged, and can't hold on much longer. You still have a little time, the best thing to do is to let these people leave the town. You're in a hurry to escape right now, otherwise." Long Fei said, Long Fei, will never run. Moreover, they encountered a boss and escaped. That was not Long Fei's style. Long Fei did not ask Yi Yi to help either. He was a ranker of Tongtian Hall of Immortals. If he wanted to help, one move would be enough. However, Yi Yi wouldn't do anything either. Everything in this world had its limits, and since it had already happened, there was no way to change it. Rumble. Rumble. In the depths of the forest, rumbling sounds could be heard everywhere as towering trees were uprooted one after another. A huge beast that was dozens of meters tall drilled out from the ground. Roar! It let out an angry roar, and its body began to emit a burst of immortal light. This was the light emitted by its stamina and immortal foundation. Other than that, Long Fei also saw the glittering glow of the boss. He clenched his fists and said excitedly, "The first boss." "His here," Chief Bodyguard roared. He also quickly walked to Long Fei's side and said, "That is a fairy beast. It is said that fairy beasts with spirit roots are extremely powerful." Long Fei said excitedly, "The more powerful you are, the more interesting it is. A new round of demon beast assault is about to start. Prepare your brothers. Remember, you must bring those demon beasts into range before you attack. And this time, I'm going to be using a bayonet. With the help of the fairy beast and boss, the demonic beast's aura would definitely increase. This time, it would not be stopped so easily." Chief Bodyguard replied solemnly, "I understand." Half an hour later, when everything was ready, the incomparably huge fairy beast stood behind the herd of beasts, holding a towering tree in its hand as a weapon. Suddenly, the fairy beast threw the huge tree, heavily smashing onto the town's fence. "Captain, what should we do?" As long as a towering tree was smashed down, their defense would instantly crumble and the demonic beasts would be driven straight through. The moment this big tree came down, the demonic beast horde started to attack. "What should we do? What should we do?" At this time, Long Fei's right hand moved. "Give me the blade." Boom. The dragon Salia that merged with the vein of ancient First Emperor fell into Long Fei's hands. After entering the immortal domain, the dragon Salia had become excited. Its strength was not affected at all. At this moment, Long Fei moved and thought, "Command skill. Leave the big tree in the sky to me, and do as I say." And then, carrying the dragon Salia on his shoulder, Long Fei jumped down the fence. With lightning-fast footsteps, he rushed out crazily. Everyone was surprised. "Captain, what is he doing? What is he trying to do?" Chief Bodyguard also didn't understand, but they were not thinking about what Long Fei wanted to do, but was thinking about what they should do, and said, "We better do what we should do well. Stone throwing machine, prepare the oil of fire." Long Fei crazily rushed up, and then climbed up a big tree, like a monkey climbing up a cliff. He crazily ran up. "Hurry, hurry up." This tree was the highest point and also the best point. A towering tree flew over from the sky moonlit steppe. Long Fei stepped onto the tree branch, borrowed the strength of the branch and flew up. Then, he exploded the dragon Salia in his hands. Perfect stage. The gravity knife. The wrath of the dragon god. Rumble. The sword chopped down. When the powerful gravity was released, the towering tree instantly sunk. It was hacked into two halves by the dragon Salia and dropped straight down. Rumble. It crashed into the middle of the demonic beast horde. Caret, half, / float *, life. Long Fei also lost his center of gravity, and his entire body dropped down. He fell into a herd of demonic beast. Most importantly, the fairy beast had disappeared. Yi Yi's heart sank. This is bad. Chapter 38_841923568669. Boom. Boom. It was unable to maintain its balance in the air. Long Fei had broken through the attack of the giant tree and also landed on its own. "Captain, what should we do?" He. Long Fei fell into a herd of spirit beasts. What should he do? In that instant, Chief Bodyguard's face sank. "Brat, if it wasn't for you, our town would have been wiped out long ago." "But, I'm sorry, we have to think about town." Chief Bodyguard clenched his fists tightly and said, "If we do not move, the beasts will enter our attack range and immediately shoot." Everyone looked at him. Everyone was sad. But no one said anything because they had no other way. In the middle of the demonic beast horde, all the spirit beasts stared at Long Fei, their mouths were full of saliva. In that moment, they pounced at Long Fei. 4th level, peerless. Open. With a move of Long Fei's power, the dragon Salia clenched its fists and started slashing madly. The shadow of the dark dragon god on top of the dragon Salia danced crazily. More and more beasts rushed towards Xiong Longfei. Too many. The dense crowd surrounded Long Fei so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. In the distance, the 5 from God Emperor Academy walked out and stood on the rooftop. Looking at Long Fei, who was in the middle of the herd of beasts, the 5 sneered in disdain, "You're overestimating yourself." It was also at this time. When Chief Bodyguard saw Lin Long's group of 5, he immediately said, "Sir, all of you go and save him." God Emperor Academy, the best academy in the Sky Marshal continent. Every single student had been selected from the thousands. They were all geniuses with unparalleled potential, and all of them were at the same level as experts at the same time. As long as they made a move, they would definitely be able to stop the demon beasts from invading the city. Lin Long laughed coldly. "Save him? Do I know him well?" The 4 people beside him immediately laughed out loud. "Ha ha ha." The chief bodyguard said, "Master, you are all students of the God Emperor Academy who helped us improve our state of mind and exterminate demons. Are you just going to watch one person die under the attacks of a group of demon beasts? I beg of you." Lin Long sneered and said, "Who said that the students of the God Emperor Academy must help them to eliminate demons and get rid of devils? Begging me? Are you going to act like you're begging someone?" Lin Long's eyes were filled with contempt. If not for the presence of Fairy Beast here, he would never have come to this kind of small place in his entire life, as it did not match his identity as a student of the God Emperor Academy. A few disciples beside him said, "Kneel down and beg our boss. In your eyes, we are gods." Chief Bodyguard looked at Long Fei, who was still in the midst of the beasts fighting bitterly. If not for Long Fei, this town would have been destroyed long ago. Long Fei was their benefactor. And then, Chief Bodyguard kneeled on the ground heavily, and all the guards on the fence also knelt down. Immediately after, the relatives of the guards under the fence also kneeled down, all of them in front of Lin Long and the others. Chief Bodyguard said, "I beg you, please help us." He didn't even kowtow. Is he begging for help? The second brother said playfully. Chief Bodyguard heavily kowtowed again, and said, "Sir, please do me a favor and save him." No one was willing to kneel. But he really had no other choice. A kowtow without sincerity, try it a few more times. The second brother continued. Bam, bam, bam. Chief Bodyguard kowtowed 3 times and said, "Master, you can even make me doze off. Please save him now." Wow. You want to doze off? I have never said that anyone can get his head broken. Today, I must see for myself. As long as you can sleep your head off, I will definitely make a move. The second brother laughed out loud. He was completely playing with the chief bodyguard. Make a move? He had never thought of taking action to save Long Fei. One of the guards was unhappy. He stood up and scolded, "Aren't you guys bullying others too much? Is someone like you even fit to be a student of the God Emperor Academy?" Suddenly, the second brother's eyes were gloomy and his fingers moved. A surge of power of celestial gushed out from his fingertips, directly grabbing onto that person's throat, and coldly said, "If I'm not worthy, then it's not an ant's place to judge." Crack. With a clench of 5 fingers, the guard's neck was broken, and his head was twisted 180 degrees. Extremely cruel. Everyone was startled and pulled out their weapons in unison. The second brother laughed coldly. "What is it? You want to fight us? If you want to die, go ahead. Why God Emperor Academy? They were gods, emperors. In a place like this, they were paragons. They had never taken a single glance at these poor people, because they did not even have the qualifications to look at them. Chief Bodyguard suddenly shouted, "Everyone, calm down." The second brother laughed in disdain. "Come on, why don't you dare? You ants dare to be so impudent in front of me? If it wasn't for the fact that I have something important to do today, all of you would be dead." Incomparable arrogance. At this time, Lin Long took a step forward. His feet lightly moved like ripples, and said, "He destroyed our plan. Not killing him is already a blessing he gained from 8 lifetimes of cultivation." Chief Bodyguard knew that the people from the God Emperor Academy were here for the fairy beast, and could not help but ask, "Your plan?" The second brother sneered, "Our plan is to bring the fairy beast into the town, and then kill it." A little girl said, "The fairy beast was brought into the town. What about us?" Lin Long and the other 4 all started to laugh at the same time. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Lin Long's eyes were sinister, and he lowered the little girl, and said, "You too? We never care about the life or death of ants. Right. In our eyes, you are not human at all." Ha ha ha. The chief bodyguard and all the people in the town were stunned. Did such scum really come from the Temple God Emperor Academy in their hearts? They hated it. However, they had no choice but to accept their fate. It was because they were the geniuses of God Emperor Academy. Even if they were displeased, they would not dare to resist in their hearts, because they were weak. Weak. A weakling like an ant. In this world, the strong ate the weak, and the strong were respected. This was the law of the jungle. Chief Bodyguard felt a heartache as though he was going to die. Looking at Long Fei, who was still constantly resisting, his heart sank as he thought to himself, "I'm sorry." What was happening in the town? Long Fei did not know that he did not have the time to care about it. His entire body was currently covered in blood, and could not completely defend against the demon beast's attacks. He did not give up. He continued to resist. At the same time, his mind was frantically trying to comprehend some sort of skill. Chapter 48_8419235687. No way. No way. No way. Again. Ding. A prompt also appeared in his mind at that moment. Long Fei moved, multiple shadows, 16. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Long Fei's 16 bodies rushed out. Moreover, every single one of them had a gash in them, as this was a powerful breakthrough. In the past, the clone would be destroyed with just a slight attack, but now that he had a gash in his body, although it was only a short 100 points, it was a very powerful breakthrough. Kill. The 15 clones madly slashed out. Knocking back all the demon beast punches also caused Long Fei to gasp for breath. At this moment, Long Fei moved his body, moonlit step. Whoosh. They did not fly high, and were only a few meters high. However, as Long Fei landed heavily, he finally broke out of the demonic beast's encirclement. "He's not dead yet." Chief Bodyguard was stunned. All the guards became excited. Even though he was surrounded by a group of demonic beasts, he did not die even after 10 minutes. Furthermore, he managed to escape. How strong exactly was a third-grade immortal? How is that possible? Long Fei ran crazily and shouted at the top of the fence, "Prepare to attack, prepare to attack." Chief Bodyguard saw that Long Fei was getting closer and closer, and the herd of beasts behind him was also getting closer and closer. "Brothers, get ready. Stone throwing machine, light the oil barrel. Shoot." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The oil barrel in the sky smashed down like a meteorite. Long Fei became excited. "Grandson, come again to kill me." As he spoke, he was also constantly dodging the flames that exploded. Ding, ding, ding. As Long Fei ran, the experience bar sounded out, and the experience bar started to surge. At this moment, Lin Long's expression was extremely ugly. He had never thought that Long Fei would actually be able to escape, as if he had suffered some kind of great humiliation. "Boss, if the beasts cannot break out of the town, the fairy beast will not fall into our trap. What should we do?" the second brother asked in a low voice. They had set up a formation in the middle of the town. They had to bring the fairy beast into the array to kill it, and give them time to plunder the immortal foundation from the fairy beast's body. Fairy beast was not something that could be killed. He needed time to extract the immortal foundation from his body. Lin Long's eyes slightly tightened, and said coldly, "There's no rush. This trash is only at the 3rd level of the nascent immortal stage, and the guards in the town are also not a match for the fairy beast." The second brother nodded slightly. All 3 asked, "Boss, what if they block it?" If the fairy beast did not charge into the town and were driven away by them, all of our efforts would have been in vain. That's right. We must succeed this time. Otherwise, how would we be able to reach God Emperor Academy? Lin Long was silent for a few seconds, then said, "Second brother, third brother, you two should prepare. The fairy beast must rush into the array formation. Do you two understand?" The second brother smirked. "Boss, I know what to do now." "Attack. Continue attacking," Chief Bodyguard shouted. "Archers, get ready. 75 degrees in the sky, shoot." Chief Bodyguard saw that Long Fei was getting closer and closer, and he became even happier. "Good boy, this is simply a miracle." Ding, ding, ding. The system beep continued. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Come and chase me, keep chasing me, ha ha ha." The speed of those demon beasts became less and less. However, those living demon beasts didn't give up and crazily chased after them. Suddenly, Long Fei felt the sky darken. He looked up and his expression darkened, and muttered, "Brother, I was wrong, I really was wrong, I shouldn't have acted so arrogantly." A huge shadow came crashing down, covering the sky. "Fairy beast. It's the same one." Rumble. It was as if a huge mountain had come crashing down. It was an incomparably huge pangolin. Its entire body was covered in thick scales that looked like rocks, and on its back, there was a Dao Feng that seemed to have a spine, shining with a cold light. It stood in front of Long Fei, blocking his way. Both of his eyes burned with anger as he glared at Long Fei. Chief Bodyguard on the fence anxiously shouted, "Hurry up and shoot the fairy beast, focus all the fire on it." Arrows rained down like rain. However, it was completely useless. It was as if they were shooting at a rock. The arrows were all pierced through, not a single piece of skin was broken. "It's over." Chief Bodyguard's expression tensed up. At the same time, he made a decision and said, "Brothers, charge out." "Ha ha ha." The second brother laughed, "I'm dying of laughter. You pieces of trash want to fight with the fairy beast. You ants are really funny. You think the fairy beast is your family's pig. You think you can kill it just because you want to. Why aren't you guys taking care of each other? You're just a bunch of trash. You overestimate yourself." Being looked down upon like that, all of them were stifled in anger. Chief Bodyguard felt very bad. This time, when Long Fei heard it, he did not feel good, but scolded, "Who the F*** K is this? Why does lousy sound so unhappy?" The second brother sneered, "Your ancestor." Long Fei looked over and saw that his clothes had the obvious standard God Emperor. His expression turned cold. "God Emperor Academy?" The second said complacently, "Are you afraid?" Long Fei laughed coldly, "Does God Emperor Academy only have scumbag like you?" The second brother's eyes darkened as he yelled, "You're courting death." Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest, and said, "I'm courting death. Why don't you bite me? Why not? If you don't dare to come, then scram to the side." The second brother's face turned cold, and sneered, "You want to trick me into going against the fairy beast? Brat, do you think I'm as retarded as you? You don't dare to come? If you don't dare to come, then don't lie in front of lousy. You're nothing." Long Fei disdained. At this moment, the fairy beast suddenly moved. It was also at this time. A demonic beast was burned to death. A system notification sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 killing Monster Beast 4 obtaining 110 experience, power of Celestial X1, and ability X1. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 leveling up. Currently at the 4th level of the Immortal Realm. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 obtaining a special reward. A box since mind shone with a golden light as he opened the box. At this moment. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 obtaining 100 comprehension, 100 points of lucky value, 100 points of charm value. His comprehension ability increased by 100 points again. Long Fei's mind started to circulate faster, and roared in his heart, "Let me see how strong your 300 comprehension points are." He bellowed. Long Fei bellowed, multiple shadows. Boom, 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 boom. Covering the sky and covering the earth. They were all Long Fei. Tens of thousands of clones. Table of contents. His life was on the line. Long Fei became excited. Boss, explode. Chapter 5. Tell me something. My wife has about 10 days left before her due date. Maybe she will be born one day. If the sea breaks suddenly one day, she should go to the hospital to have a baby with her. Let me know in advance. The sea will try its best to keep it up and up. 8_8419235687. Comprehension, 300%. Comprehension, 300%. In the beginning, he had only been able to do his best to create 16 clones, but now, it was like a dam releasing water, it could not hold on at all, and 10,000 tons of water spurted out. At this moment, something popped out in Long Fei's mind. It was so dense that it covered the sky. They were all Long Fei. The scene was like a sea of people. The guards on the fence were confused, the 5 from God Emperor Academy were stunned, the 5 from Dark Academy were also shocked. What was going on? Chief Bodyguard was excited. Good boy, you're awesome. He's simply too handsome. He's so unruly. Ha ha ha. There's no need for anyone from Scum Academy to help, he alone is enough. Long Fei's avatar that suddenly covered the sky gave them a sense of anger. The haughty and arrogant attitude of the 5 men from God Emperor Academy made everyone feel uncomfortable, especially the guards, who were suppressing their anger, but none of them dared to say anything. The chief bodyguard shouted, "Brat, beat this fairy beast to death ruthlessly, ha ha ha." At this moment, Lin Long frowned. The second brother immediately asked, "Boss, what do we do?" What kind of cultivation technique was he training in? They actually have so many clones. All 3 said anxiously, "Boss, let's not worry about that for now. The most important thing right now is to kill the fairy beast and take its immortal root. What if this kid gets there first?" The 4th elder began to grow anxious as well. "Let's cripple this kid first." Fairy beast was equivalent to an immortal root. The immortal foundation was power. It was the divine power that changed one's physique and talent. It was something that every immortal could attain at a higher level. The 10 realms of immortal domain required 10 rating immortal roots. One realm required level 1 immortal root. Without the immortal foundation, one would never be able to step into a higher realm. Simply put, to break through the spiritual level, you must either cultivate a 2nd-level fairy route or kill a fairy beast to obtain a 2nd-level fairy route. Only by fusing with a 2nd-level fairy route can you break through the spiritual level. Thus, to break through in immortal domain, it was simply too difficult. If one's talent was not enough, they could only make a breakthrough through killing fairy beast. However, fairy beasts were limited. Every single level 1 immortal route was incomparably difficult, and the further one went, the more difficult it would become. Even an expert of Heavenly Hall of Immortals would not be able to break through without a high-grade immortal foundation. Jiu Wuji only had 7 immortal roots. He was an expert of the Yuanxian realm. It was too difficult. The immortal foundation determined everything. Lin Long's group of 5 were still in the nascent realm. It was not easy to find this fairy beast. They must have it. Suddenly, Lin Long frowned and said coldly, "The immortal foundation is ours, we cannot let anyone snatch it away. Get ready. As long as this fairy beast is suppressed, we will immediately make our move. 2nd brother, 3rd brother, you guys are in charge of dealing with that kid. 4th brother, 5th brother, you 2 pay attention to the people from the Dark Academy, they will definitely attack." Lin Long quickly gave the order. He was currently in the holy 9th rank. If he wanted to break through, he must have the 2nd-level fairy route, and the immortal foundation in this fairy beast must have a 2nd-grade strength. Understood. The 4 of them quickly vanished. Under the fence. Long Fei was incomparably excited. Ha ha ha. I finally understand it. This is the power of 300% of comprehension. It's so great. System, awesome. Long Fei's blood boiled. Countless eyes stared straight at the pangolin-like fairy beast, and bellowed, "Grandson, it's your turn, right? Kill them all." Ha. Following Long Fei's order, the clones that blotted out the sky and covered the earth madly rushed down, just like when they were surrounded by the demon beast fists. Mother f***. You're teasing Lousy, now it's Lousy's turn to tease you, right? Long Fei was furious, he shouted. Kill him, go to hell and kill him, I will smash you to death with my men, more than others, right? Come on, summon your monster army over. All of a sudden, thousands and thousands of clones surrounded the fairy beast tightly. Long Fei's clone was on every inch of his body, so it was impossible to see the original appearance of the fairy beast. And when the demonic beasts in the distance saw this scene, their legs went weak. They turned around and fled into the mountain forest. F***ck. He sold out his master just like that. Don't even mention it. The beasts of the immortal domain are much more intelligent than the beasts of the South Horizon region. Long Fei laughed. Goblin beasts did not have much intelligence, but the intelligence of immortal domain goblin beasts was much stronger than the goblin beasts of the South Horizon region. The fairy beast is amazing, right? Is he cocky? Give me another one. Long Fei arrogantly roared, although his clone couldn't create too high of an attack, with such a high attack, with several tens of points, or at least a dozen points of damage, but there were many people here. They were densely packed like ants, and could even bite you to death. However, when Long Fei took out so many clones, his power of Celestial was already exhausted, and he was unable to use any techniques. In the darkness, Yi smiled again and again as he murmured, "Good boy, I never thought that you would have this kind of skill. What kind of technique is this? A secret technique of the Long family? I've never seen it. Negative activation to dragon blood. The Long family's ancestor is the same, he is also the same. Could there be a connection? The Long family." Yi exhaled deeply in his heart as he thought to himself, there are too many secrets hidden. Rumble. The fairy beast was enraged, and blasted a large area of Long Fei away. Without waiting for him to react, another large area of Long Fei pounced over. The amount of HP left on his head was rapidly decreasing. 29, 83, 43. Come out layer by layer, he really did it with a bite. One after another, thick layers of scales were bitten off, and fresh blood flowed out. Finally, the fairy beast could not hold on any longer and roared. It rolled its body and a row of sharp blades on its back curled up into a ball, like a wheel. And then, it crazily rolled at an extremely fast speed. Long Fei was stunned. Damn, a dragon turtle. It was exactly the same as the dragon turtle in the 101th book, except this one was more harmful and much faster. This skill is pretty good. I like it. Long Fei grinned, the idea roared, and said, this guy wants to run, attack him all at once. At the same time, the dragon Salia in his hand moved, slash. Get down. Rumble. The gravitational flame on the blade dimmed and directly interrupted the fairy beast's skill, causing it to return to its original form. Both its claws dug into the ground, intending to rush straight down into the ground. F***ck. You can still drill into the ground, right? You even have Rex's digger skill on you. I like it more. It must be mine. At this moment, all the clones tightly grabbed onto the fairy beast's tail and desperately dragged it outwards. Long Fei dragged his dragon Salia and said excitedly, catch all of you. Chapter 18_8419235687. Long Fei dragged the dragon Salia and walked in front of the fairy beast step by step. His lips curled into a sinister smile and he said, the combination of the dragon turtle and the excavator? Not bad, not bad. Long Fei dragged the dragon Salia and walked in front of the fairy beast step by step. His lips curled into a sinister smile and he said, the combination of the dragon turtle and the excavator? Not bad, not bad. Now they are mine. Finished. Long Fei raised the blade with both hands, and said solemnly, explode for me. It was also at this time. Damn it. Lin Long's eyes trembled. Could it be that he doesn't know that this is a fairy beast? Don't you know that fairy beast has immortal roots? If we kill it, how can we take away its immortal roots? A country bumpkin. He's really a country bumpkin, a fool. Instantly, Lin Long's body moved, he moved as though he was flying, and quickly rushed forward, at the same time shouting out, do it. At the same time. At this moment, the people from the Dark Academy also all took action. Fairy beastess were a unique beast in the immortal domain. They were a gift from the heavens to the warriors in the immortal domain. They had absorbed the essence of heaven and earth, and formed a supreme immortal foundation in their body. Only this kind of immortal foundation could allow immortals to break through their shackles, obtain power of celestial, and cultivate a supreme divine ability. The immortal foundation within the fairy beast could only be taken away, and once the immortal foundation within the fairy beast was killed, it would disappear. Where's Long Fei? He didn't understand at all. Right now, he did not care whether it had fairy beast or immortal roots. In his eyes, this fellow was a boss, the first in the entire immortal domain. Since it was a boss, he would kill it. Just as he was lifting the dragon Salia up in the air, the second and third brother of the God Emperor Academy rushed out, looking flustered. Stop. Don't kill it. On the other side. 2 students from the Dark Academy also rushed out, saying, Brat, stop, do you know what this is? Idiot, stop. They were all nervous. Even the guards on the fence were nervous. The fairy beast. How could he just kill them like that? That was an existence that had immortal foundation. With just one immortal foundation, he would be able to change fate. What was Long Fei planning to do? Kill it. I'm afraid all the warriors in the entire immortal domain would not do such a thing. The 4 people who were rushing over were shocked. F***ck. The boss snatchers are here. F***ck. Long Fei swore out loud and roared, you guys are still a little too inexperienced to fight with me for the boss. Cut it for me. Long Fei's blade did not pause at all, he slashed down heavily, landing on the head of the fairy beast. The 4 of them felt their bodies go limp, and their minds went ice cold. It's over. Rumble. A blade slashed at the fairy beast's head. At that moment, the fairy beast let out a wail, and its head split open. Celestial light shot out in all directions, and at the same time. The amount of HP left on the top of his head instantly reached 0. The system sounded out. Long Fei moved his idea and immediately shouted, release the berserk energy. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tier 2 Fairy Beast, for obtaining an experience point. Power of Celestial, 120 points, energy values, 1 point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 2nd rank spiritual roots. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining ground rolling technique. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the burrow technique and releasing the skill. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 2nd rank fairy beast armor. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 5th level of the immortal realm. Buzz. The energy in Long Fei's body suddenly increased. His experience tank and power of Celestial S also changed. He exclaimed in his heart, it has leveled up again. Awesome. At this moment, all the clones vanished. Unable to hold on for too long, Long Fei did not bother about it. Instead, he opened the system and checked, 2nd level fairy route? What is this thing? Item, 2nd level fairy route attribute, Earth description, a 2nd grade Earth attribute spiritual route. 4 Earth attribute cultivation technique, an increase of 30% has been comprehended by Earth attribute power of Celestial. Description 2, Earth immortal root is one of the 5 elements immortal roots. The ability to fuse the 5 elements immortal roots has increased by 200%. 5 elements immortal foundation? When Long Fei saw the comprehension power, he couldn't help but become excited. Understanding was too important. The idea moved, and immediately said, fusion. Ding. System notification. Unable to fuse. Player's level is too low. F***ck your grandpa. Long Fei scolded him. What do you mean the level of the players is too low? This old man is also a 5th grade immortal, alright. Long Fei looked at the requirements to fuse the immortal foundation and muttered, damn, 2nd level fairy route can only be used with the cultivation of the holy 9th rank, and it's even the peak realm, what the heck. At this moment, cheers came from the fence. We won, ha ha ha. We won, we defended against the demon beast's assault, ha ha ha. The town erupted in cheers. Everyone felt their hearts drop. Some were happy. Some people were furious beyond belief. Lin Long rushed out and quickly rushed to the fairy beast's side. He looked around carefully, his eyes glazed over, and his body couldn't help but tremble a little as he said, "There's nothing left. The immortal foundation is gone, no more. Gone, gone." It was as if he had lost his soul. All their efforts in this half-month had been in vain. With the death of the fairy beast, their spirit roots had disappeared. At the same time, Lin Long's heart was filled with anger. He stared straight at Long Fei with killing intent, and shouted sinisterly, "Why do you want to kill it? Don't you know he's a fairy beast? You idiot, why did you kill it?" Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and said, "If I don't kill him, everyone in this town will die. I was just about to ask you, as the student of God Emperor Academy, why didn't you help? Is this how God Emperor Academy is like?" Boom. The aura on Lin Long's body suddenly exploded. With a step forward, the strength of the holy ninth rank smashed over. Shua. A palm struck down. Long Fei's eyes moved. He wanted to dodge, but too fast. Too fast, too fast. For someone with a cultivation at the 5th level of the immortal realm, the death of the holy ninth rank was simply too powerful. There was no way to block it. However, Long Fei's reaction was not slow. His body could not break through the level shackles, but his reaction was still as fast as a god. Without waiting for Lin Long's attack to land, Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Underground drilling, the skill of the excavator." His body abruptly sank. He drilled into the ground, and 3 meters away, his body shot out from the ground, and he took a bite out of the mud. Puff, puff. Long Fei spat out the mud, and said, "Damn." Lin Long's strike failed, and his expression became even more dark. He stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you ruined my good plan today. I will cripple you for sure." Long Fei's mind trembled. The difference in strength before the South Horizon region was not so obvious. But here, if he did not use any external force, even a level 1 Long Fei could feel that it was extremely difficult, and the holy ninth rank could crush him to death. Equals semi-floating life plus, rank was even more important in immortal domain. However, Long Fei's personality was bad. He looked at Lin Long and said, "If you have the guts, then come. I want to see who's the cripple." Giant Demon. Chapter 28_841923568873. If you don't like it, then do it. If you don't like it, then do it. Cripple your father. Let's see if you're strong enough. Long Fei was not afraid at all, so what about the geniuses of the God Emperor Academy? At this moment, the corners of Lin Long's eyes twitched, his killing intent rose as he let out a cold snort. "Kill him." The 4 of them moved. Immediately, it attacked Long Fei. Long Fei's idea sank and rushed into the broken 18 levels of hell, shouting, "Giant Demon, it's time to wake up." Roar. This was the first time that the 18 levels of hell had produced such a loud roar. The troll woke up. The 18 levels of hell, 1 level, 1 demon. The first gravity troll. His eyes were filled with anger as he shouted, "I've woken up, master." Long Fei looked at Lin Long and the other 2, snorting coldly, and said coldly, "Slag, don't be scared to the point of wetting your pants. Let me see who's the cripple today." Under normal circumstances, Long Fei did not want to summon his giant demon beast. This guy had caused too much of a commotion. It was bound to cause unnecessary trouble. This is the immortal domain. If he managed to provoke a few more heavenly Hall of Immortals rankers, the result would be disastrous. However, being bullied like that, Long Fei only said one word, "Fuck." Right at this moment, the giant demons were about to be summoned by Long Fei, but a figure blocked his path. Yi Yi. The moment his figure landed, his aura slightly fluctuated. Boom. The 5 of them immediately stood on the spot, unable to move. It was instantly crushed. Yi Hu. An elder of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, an expert at the pinnacle of the immortal domain. Other than the Heavenly Hall of Immortals only a few people could withstand the power of a grade 6 immortal foundation. This was only a tiny bit of suppression. If it was at full power, Lin Long and the other three would probably already be lying on the ground. Yi Yi's cold voice sounded, as a disciple of the God Emperor Academy, you don't even know to protect the people. Not only do you not know, you even kill innocents. The five of them trembled. The aura Yi Yi was releasing was too terrifying. The five of them couldn't take it. Lin Long said with difficulty, since you know we are the God Emperor Academy students, then you should show some respect and offend my God Emperor Academy, I want you. Not waiting for him to finish. Yi Yi landed in front of Lin Long, glared at him, and said, what do you want? Lin Long's face was extremely pale, she could not utter another word. Long Fei grinned and said, Senior, let me deal with this kind of person. Finished. Long Fei stepped forward and fiercely slapped him. God Emperor Academy students are amazing. Pa. A resounding slap landed on Lin Long's face, the 5 handprints on his face clearly visible. Everyone was shocked. The guards on the fence were even more shocked. Someone who beat up God Emperor Academy. This. He was indescribably shocked. In their hearts, the God Emperor Academy was like a god. Even if they had the strength, they would not dare to move an inch because the power of the God Emperor Academy was just too great. The God Emperor Academy was the sky. They could only respect him, but not blaspheme him. At the same time, everyone couldn't help but think, don't tell me this kid is from the Dark Academy. If it were not for the people from the Dark Academy, how would they dare to make a move against the people from the God Emperor Academy? At this moment, the leader of the Dark Academy laughed out loud and said, Brat, I won't make things difficult for you today just because of this slap. Long Fei looked at Yi Yi. Senior, they also ordered it for me. Yi Yi smiled faintly, and his aura trembled. The 5 students from the Dark Academy were also crushed in an instant. The leader's face fell. What are you trying to do? Long Fei walked forward step by step, revealing a playful smile, and said, What are you doing? If you don't want to cause trouble for me, I will find trouble for you, okay? Before he finished speaking, Long Fei's palm fiercely slapped down. With a furious roar, he asked, Is that good? Pa. Another resounding slap on the face. It was truly an enjoyable slap. With Yi Yi, a powerful expert from the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, there was no way he wouldn't feel great about it. And then, Long Fei looked at the chief bodyguard on the fence and said, Captain, was there a brother who was killed just now? Who killed him? Chief bodyguard was shocked, her face immediately changed. After beating up the God Emperor Academy and the Dark Academy, how crazy is this guy? Even if an expert was suppressing him, he didn't dare to say it out loud. Chief bodyguard kept shaking his head, no. Would he be able to suppress them for a period of time? Would he be able to suppress his entire life? In their hearts, God Emperor Academy was too strong to be reached. They could not afford to offend him, so they could only swallow their anger, not daring to make a sound, even if someone stood up for them. Long Fei's gaze darkened, walked to Lin Long's side and asked, Is that you? Lin Long's eyes could kill, he hated that he couldn't immediately kill Long Fei, and said, Brat, have you thought about the consequences? Pa. A slap landed on his face. Long Fei said, Have you thought about the consequences? Blood hung from the corner of Lin Long's mouth as his expression became extremely unsatisfied. If you dare to make a move against me again, give it a try. Pa. Lousy moved, what's wrong? Long Fei stared at Lin Long, his aura did not decrease at all, and said, This father has hated all of you being conceited, thinking that you are superior to others, all the so-called geniuses. Lin Long was beaten so badly that stars appeared in his eyes. The holy 9th rank was completely crushed, and he could not move at all. He didn't even have the least bit of defense. Long Fei looked at Lin Long and laughed, You want to compete with me in arrogance? You're still too young. Lin Long laughed coldly, Brat, not waiting for him to finish. The dragon Salia in Long Fei's hands rested directly on his neck, and he said, Come, continue to speak. Let me see if one of you still continues to act arrogantly. The sword aura of the dragon Salia wrapped itself around his neck, and the lifelike dragon head stared at him, feeling extremely uncomfortable. At this moment, Lin Long's mind went cold, and instantly kneeled down, and said, I don't dare anymore, I beg you to spare my life. Arrogant. The dragon Salia in Long Fei's hands pressed down and said, I've never seen someone that is so arrogant before. What's wrong with God Emperor Academy? His heart turned cold. Just like the scythe of the god of death on his neck, he was incomparably afraid. Arrogant. Long Fei had never been afraid of anyone. If it wasn't for Yi Yi, he would have definitely killed these people. Yi Yi said softly, compared to being able to act brazenly and recklessly just because you think you're a student of the God Emperor Academy, if I see something like this happening again, I won't let you off so easily. He saw that it was about time. After all, he was a student of the God Emperor Academy. Moreover, he was considering for Long Fei that if he were to offend too many people in half a year, Long Fei would be participating in the God Emperor Academy's examination, which would be extremely disadvantageous to him. If Long Fei killed Lin Long today, then he wouldn't be able to enter the God Emperor Academy even if he found out about this matter. Disciple doesn't dare. I would not dare. The 5 immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Yi Yi snorted coldly and said, Scram. In that instant, Lin Long's group of 5 rolled and crawled their way out as if they had received amnesty. Yi Yi was too strong, too strong. They didn't dare to take revenge. But Long Fei. Lin Long remembered Long Fei's look in his heart. If there was a chance, he would make sure to repay it 100 times over. Chapter 3. Table of Contents, 8_84-19-2356875. Awesome. Awesome. Seeing the 10 people from the God Emperor Academy and the Dark Academy running away in panic, Long Fei shouted out in excitement. At the same time, everyone on the God's Soul Town were cheering. He was even more excited than if he had killed a fairy beast. Hero. Hero, hero. Chief Bodyguard shouted first, and all the guards followed along. In the end, the entire town started to call Long Fei a hero. It was Long Fei who saved their town. The last restaurant, the best wine. Yi grabbed a jar and pushed. Long Fei also grabbed a jar of wine. A collision. Ha ha ha. Ha. The two raised their heads and drank. Soon, half a jar of wine was finished. Yi said excitedly, satisfying. I have not drunk so much in a long time. Brat, you're too awesome, ha ha ha. He was happy because Long Fei was crazy enough that even when facing the God Emperor Academy, he did not show the slightest bit of fear. And then there was that. This wine was strong enough. Yi Dao said, do you know what kind of fairy beast you have killed today? Long Fei said, isn't it just a fairy beast? Yi Dao said, that's a fairy beast of the 2nd level fairy route. Immortal Domain's cultivation method is slightly different from the South Horizon region. The Immortal Foundation determines everything. Do you know how difficult it is to comprehend a single Immortal Foundation? It's like you've ascended the heavens, yet you kill me with a single slash. Ha ha ha. That blade was so cool that even a Tier 2 spiritual root was destroyed. Ha ha ha. Yi laughed maniacally. Once the fairy beast dies, the Immortal Foundation would disappear. He also believed that Long Fei did not obtain the 2nd level fairy route. Of course. Other than Long Fei himself, no one knew that he had obtained the 2nd level fairy route. Long Fei asked, Senior, what is your cultivation level now? Yi smiled bitterly and said, I only have 6 immortal roots, which is also the golden immortal realm. I haven't comprehended the 7th one for a good 50 years. 50 years was a long time. His cultivation had not improved at all. If one failed to comprehend the 7th immortal foundation, they would be unable to break through the shackles and enter the Yuanxian realm. It was just like the power of law. It couldn't be broken. 6 immortal roots. Long Fei slightly said, then why not choose a 7th stage fairy beast to kill? Hunting fairy beast should be a bit easier than comprehending it, right? As long as one had grade 7 immortal roots, he would be able to break through the Yuanxian realm. Yi Xiao laughed, leaving aside how strong a 7th rank fairy beast is, just the scarcity itself is so small that it makes people's hair stand on ends. Starting from a 5th rank fairy beast, They are like a treasure formed from the essence of heaven and earth, extremely rare and hard to find. Even if we can find them, it is hard to kill them. Even a 7th rank fairy beast is hard to deal with. Don't just look at how you killed a fairy beast today. This is just a low-grade fairy beast that did not use their immortal roots power. When it comes to high-grade spiritual roots, they are destructive existences. Fairy beast was the strongest being in the immortal domain. A 5th stage fairy beast could attract countless of strong warriors to fight for it. As for a 7th stage fairy beast, that was even more incredible. Long Fei was quiet for a moment, then asked, "Senior, what is Jiu Wuji's cultivation?" He must kill Jiu Wuji. And there was also Tai Hong. These two were too dangerous. If they didn't kill him, they would destroy the Long family clan. Moreover, if it were not for the two Yang Huang ancestors not being severely injured, the two of them had to be killed. They had to be killed, otherwise, they would not be able to quell Long Fei's anger. Yi Yi's expression shook, then said, "Long Fei, the two of them are Heavenly Hall of Immortals' elders, the top ranker of the immortal domain. I know you want to kill them, but I want to remind you, before you reach the fitted realm, you absolutely should not look for them. The strength of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals is countless times stronger than what you can imagine. They are elders of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Making a move against them is equivalent to making a move against the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. No one can bear the consequences like that." He was an elder of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals, so he was very clear about the power of the Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Too strong. Long Fei asked, "Senior, Jiu Wuji is at the 7th realm of the Immortal Foundation Yuanxian?" Yi nodded. He is at the 3rd stage of the Yuanxian and Tai Hong is at the 9th stage of the Golden Immortal stage. Understood. Just know their levels. Long Fei thought, I will definitely take care of those two. There hasn't been a single boss that has managed to escape from me, Long Fei. You escaped a calamity in the South Horizon region. The next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you too. Yi Dao said, "Brat, don't you dare act recklessly. The Heavenly Hall of Immortals is above the God Emperor Academy. You must join them and become a demon slayer. As long as your identity as a demon slayer is confirmed, even Jiu Wuji and Tai Hong would not dare to touch you, understand? Demon Slayer is the best protection you can rely on." Demon Slayer? Long Fei didn't know what the Demon Slayer was, and asked, "Senior, what kind of person can be called a Demon Slayer?" Yi Tianxia heaved a sigh of relief one by one, then said, 1 month ago, the laws of the Sky Martial continent were destroyed, and the laws of the world lost their balance. The giant demons from millions of years ago seized this moment to escape, and at the same time, the Supreme God received a revelation from the heavens, that the appearance of the giant demons required the help of the Demon Slayer. He was not a Supreme God. He did not know the deep meaning behind it either. Yi smiled faintly and said, "You will know once you become a student of the God Emperor Academy, so you must definitely become a student of the God Emperor Academy. Do you understand?" He believed that Long Fei was the first demon slayer. However, it was only because he believed that he had to go through all sorts of tests to get the recognition of the Supreme God that he was called a demon slayer. Entering the God Emperor Academy was the first step. Only when Long Fei becomes a demon slayer would he be able to get protection, so Jiu Wuji and Tai Hong didn't dare to rashly touch him. Yi had already thought about it after coming to the Sky Soul Cliff this time. When Long Fei finds the God's Soul Herb, he would bring him back to the Tongtian Hall of Immortals to take the Demon Slayer examination and gain the recognition of the Supreme God. The entire God's Soul town was celebrating. It lasted until midnight. Long Fei returned to the courtyard that the chief bodyguard had arranged for him, laid on his bed and fell into a deep sleep. He would enter the God's Soul Mountain tomorrow. In his dreams, Long Fei muttered, "Ancestor, don't worry, I will definitely find the God's Soul Herb to save you." In the yard next door, Yi stood in the courtyard with his hands behind his back, saying, "Come out, Star Spirit Messenger." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 rays of light shot down from the sky like shooting stars, and the 3 of them stood in front of Yi. One of the messengers said, "Elder Yi, I have received orders from Supreme God to bring you back to Tongtian Hall of Immortals. Yi frowned, then laughed at himself. Seems like Jiu Wuji has really reversed the situation. To think that even Supreme God was blinded by him. // and then. Yi Yeri's eyes turned cold. His expression changed as he said, "What if I refuse?" All of a sudden, the courtyard was filled with killing intent. Chapter 48_841923568676. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.